I'll call this. Seriously? I will fuck you up. I will beat your ass. I will fuck you up. I will fuck you up. I will beat your ass. I will fuck you up.
Objection. Objection.
I will fuck you up. KO. I will fuck you up.
𝗵𝗵𝗂𝗺 𝗵𝗵𝗂𝗺 Trooper 𝗵𝗵𝗂𝗺 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 Trooper 𝗵𝗵𝗂𝗺 𝗵𝗵𝗂𝗺.
My name is Aidan Kearney, also known as Turtleboy.
Is a senior editor for Turtleboy Daily News.
I'm a big fan.
We've broken hundreds of stories that the mainstream media won't touch.
Some blogger in Massachusetts who's getting to the bottom of this better than anybody.
Why is it Turtleboy that is covering such important issues? Where is the rest of the media?
You did not say that you were gonna take my baby out of revenge and make him a transgender baby.
Stop it.
Don't you want to ask some questions? I know you do.
I do. I
know you.
People don't like the things that I say and want me to stop saying them, but I won't. I'm never gonna stop. These are the kind of stories that must be told.
And I will not be intimidated. I will not be silenced. And we will continue on our journey for justice for John O'Keefe and for Karen Reed.
Tick, tick, boom. Noise. Go, baby, we bringing out toys. Boys, chop up and sing, it should be on the voice. Bang, bang, we gon' ride out. Gang, gang, we don't die out. Want it like this, ain't no timeouts. Tell me who really gon' find out.
We be disturbing the peace, working, we serving the streets.
Karen Reed has supporters who've shown up in large numbers.
Tick, tick, boom.
Hard body, and not scaring nobody. You make me resort to wildin'. You must be blind by the diamonds. I didn't want it to be this way, but y'all won't need to try this, so it's no way around it. You the loudest one, it's going quiet. We be disturbing the peace, working, we serving the streets. About to go ahead, going beast. Bang, bang, leave you sleep.
This is the first time I think I've ever seen this. An outpouring of support for someone accused of murdering a Boston police officer. Unbelievable situation. Never seen anything like it.
Tick, tick, boom.
You can't stop me, so who gon' stop me? You can't stop me, so who gon' stop me? You can't stop me, so who gon' stop me? You can't stop me, so who gon' stop me?
We be disturbing the peace, working, we serving the streets. About to go ahead, going beast. Bang, bang, leave you sleep. It's go, 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 go time.
Tick, tick, boom.
Boom. What's up, people? How's everyone doing out there tonight? Give me 1 second. Time out. Be right back. Hold on. All right, guys. What's going on, peeps? Welcome to the impromptu special Happy Hump Day. Special show here. We got a 2-part Vanity Fair thing. So the second part came out today, and I didn't want to wait. I'm not having Turtle Club tomorrow because trick-or-treating and Halloween. It's just too much for one day. So I'm going to wait till Friday to do Turtle Club. Okay? Friday, we're going to do Turtle Club. Give me 1 sec to just get rid of that. All right, good. Anyway, guys, hope everybody's doing well tonight. Let's see. What I was going to say. Yeah. If you're new here, my name is Aidan Kearney. You can call me Clarence Woods Emerson. That's what I go by on the Facebook machine. It looks like we have 2,000 people watching. Nice. On YouTube. Not too shabby for a hump day. But I see only... Are we on? It's not giving me my YouTube numbers. We are live on YouTube right now, aren't we? Okay. It is working. That's so weird. Anyway... Just making sure we're live. Just making sure. Because I'm like confused. Because I see right now, I see 1,600 people and they're all on Twitter. That's what I see on StreamYard. It says I have no YouTube, but you guys are all here, so it must be working. So we're going to run with it. So anyway, guys, yeah, if you're new here, I prefer Doctor. You can call me Uncle Turtleboy or Daddy. People still call me Daddy, and I'm not going to lie. Let the tradition continue. I will allow it. I've made a formal decision to allow it. So I don't care what you call me. Just make sure you smash that subscribe button. We got like 200 new subscribers in the last 24 hours. 'Cause a lot of people watch and they don't hit the subscribe button. Just do it. Come on, just do it. Do it now. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be dope. All right. So make sure you smash that subscribe button. Give us a big thumbs up afterwards. Leave a comment. All that stuff helps, etc. Okay, cool. The Yankees are up 5-0. Wait. There's baseball again on tonight. They don't take a break. Wait, is game 5 tonight right now? Get out of here. Let me see. It is tonight. Holy shit. Are they going to come back from 3-0? Are they really going to do this? So they go 2-3-2. I didn't know. I thought they do 2-2-1-1-1. I thought they did that. So I guess they're taking that up. I mean, this is a good World Series. Not going to lie. I haven't watched baseball in years, but like the two best teams in baseball, Yankees, Dodgers, like New York, LA, like that's pretty awesome. Yeah, Delphi, like I've gotten a bunch of messages about Delphi. I haven't followed it much. I know it's a small town in Indiana where 2 girls were killed and I believe sexually assaulted like 7 years ago, and they arrested some guy named Richard Allen for it. And a lot of people think he didn't do it. All I know is I trust Andrea Burkhart, and she is there now. And she says it's just like shenanigans on steroids over there. Like the judge, I guess, is like a Bev, like worse than Auntie Bev, they say. He's not allowing any cameras in the courtroom. Media has to like sleep outside every day. It's fucking crazy. It's crazy what's going on there. So yeah, people say he's getting railroaded, but I look at the public opinion polls and it's like kind of split whether or not he did it or not. I mean, do you guys know, you guys follow the Delphi thing? Do you guys know what I'm talking about? Cause I only know the basics, but it looks like you guys maybe today proved he did it. Is that what you're saying? Is it like because that's why I don't get into true crime. It's like I don't want to defend guilty people if they actually did it. That's why I just like Karen Reed. Because with Karen Reed, we all know she didn't do it. It's so simple. Like that's what I like. That's my first. I popped my cherry with the most undeniable, not guilty, true crime subject ever. Like it's an easy one. Well, I'll just ask right here. I'm like, did his name is Richard Allen, right? And okay. All right, so we got 3 choices there. Okay. Is Richard Allen guilty or not guilty? Yes, no, or don't know who that is. Let's see what people say in the polls. All right, we got about 100 votes so far. Don't know who that is leading with 46, but it's going back and forth with. Oh, fuck. Is Richard out? So if you think he's guilty, say yes. If he's not guilty, say no. I should have made that clear. And if you don't know who that is, click that. So only 17% say guilty. Okay. So this could be another one. His confession. So, but that means over half the chat is watching this. So maybe I should look into it a little more. I don't know. It's hard to find the time, to be perfectly honest with you. It's hard to find the time. No physical evidence looking at the scene. I mean, Lena, yeah, she thinks 𝗀𝗏 is definitely guilty, but that guy is definitely guilty. A lot of people have messaged me and be like, you got to defend 𝗀𝗏. I'm like, oh, that guy's a psycho. That motherfucker definitely murdered them. Definitely. No doubt about it. And I like Lena when it comes to the Karen Reed stuff, but not down with the Chris Watts stuff. I heard, like, maybe I misread what she said here. I was under the impression that she was somewhat of a Chris Watts sympathizer. And I ain't on board with that. No. Like, come on, bro. Chris Watts, like, he admitted it. Like, of course he did it. Guy's like the most guilty dude. But I mean, 𝗀𝗏 is definitely guilty. Like, that guy, I looked into the 𝗀𝗏 stuff. Like, I actually, when that first happened, I'm like, oh, they got him dead to rights. You know, you got him dead to rights. Like, that guy's fucked. So, like, you know, I don't want to get into this thing where I automatically think the defendant is not guilty, because, like, a lot of times they're guilty. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of times they are guilty. Like, guilty people do go to jail sometimes. It's not only the innocent. But like Colin did it. Yeah, Colin definitely, for sure. But you know. All right, cool. Anyway, so that's interesting. That's interesting. Anyway, so yeah, if you guys want to have your messages read out loud on the show tonight, you can click on the link at the top for Turtle Chat, or you can cash at me at $UncleTurtleboy. We got one here. It says, don't read. Oh. You want me to take that down? It's already up. I mean, they're going to see it. I guess I could, but everyone's going to be like, all right, I guess they want me to take that picture down. I'll take it down. But it's already been viewed 35,000 times, so it's kind of pointless. But sure, I deleted it. There you go. Okay, cool. Anyway, Natalie sends $5 and goes, thanks so much for the bonus show tonight. Sending you love and support from Canada. Oh, Canada. Nice. Thank you, Natalie. CC sends $10 and goes, Dr. Turtleboy, Karen and you are my heroes. Thank you for inspiring so many. Love. Oh, I'm glad to be your hero, CC. I appreciate that. EL sends 50 big ones and says, thank you for always being the calm in the storm for the extra live. I'm known for my calmness. I'm known for being very calm, no matter what. It was a picture of Jen McCabe at the at some sort of sporting event tonight. I don't know. The guy, I don't get these people who take pictures and they send me the pictures, and then I'm like, can I post it? And they're like, yeah. And then they post it and they're like, oh, take it down. Okay, no, not a problem. But you can't put the genie back in the bottle. You know what I mean? Like, they all got, and I hate to break it to you, but like the thing about taking a picture down like that is now it's like you've just given the trolls, it's like a dinner bell for the trolls. Like, I personally, what I would have done is just kept it up and been like, nothing's wrong with this. But now that I've taken it down, they're going to be like, oh, there's something wrong with this situation. Like, there's something wrong with this because why else would he take it down? Like, he doesn't take much shit down. They're going to be like, that's up. Something's up with that. Luckily, we screenshotted it, and now we're going to figure out what's the problem with this. You know, like, that's the thing with trolls is you can't ever give in to them. You can't ever take shit down, take shit back, ever. It is a sign of weakness. They will jump all over that. Like, you think you're solving a problem, you're actually creating one. You know what I mean? So, no, I took it down, so I'm not putting it back up now. But I mean, it's just a picture of Jen McCabe at a sporting event. I don't see what the big deal is. But anyway, we're back. So yeah, let me refresh that. See if and by the way, my Cash App is $UncleTurtleboy if you'd like to do it that way. Do we have any more turtle chats here before we get started? The Super Saiyan Sullivan Slut sends $5 and goes, 1-1 was a racehorse, 2-2 was 1-2, 1-1 one race, and 2-2 1-2. Okay. Thanks for sharing. Thank you very much. Got a couple Cash Apps here. We have, let's see. We got Katrina sends $10 and says, Kamala Harris will be the 47th president. Trump sucks. I got back. I mean, she could be. She definitely could be. I mean, I won't sit up in here and say it's over. Like, it's definitely not. Like, I believe in polls, and I believe in betting lines more than anything. Like, that's what I believe in. And according to the polls, I'm just being honest with you. And next Tuesday, if you don't like my politics, you do not want to watch my show on Tuesday because it's going to be entirely election. Okay. And I'm voting for Trump. Like, I'm going to be very clear about that. I'm voting for Donald Trump. And I'm a DeSantis guy. So you can't even say like I'm like a Trump star, a MAGA guy. Like I'm a DeSantis guy. But my guy lost. He didn't even come close. So it is what it is. So anyway, so let's go look over here because this is where I look at the betting line, right? And because if I look at it like if you're not willing to put your money where your mouth is, it means shit. And the odds are Donald Trump minus 200, Kamala Harris plus 170. So that means if you bet $100 that Donald Trump will win and he wins, you win $50. If you bet 100 Kamala Harris wins and she wins, you win 170. So she's an underdog, but plus 170 ain't like that big of an underdog. Like if you go to, let's find something comparable, like NFL, right? NFL. Let's find one that's plus 170. Let's see. Oh, here's one. Okay. So the Commanders are playing the Giants this weekend, and the Giants are 4-point underdogs. So what Kamala Harris is right now is the equivalent of a 4-point underdog in football, which is like 4-point underdogs win. It's not like a huge upset. Like it's an upset, but it's not like it's not a 14-point upset. It's not like the New York Giants, in 2007 against the Patriots, like a 14.1. Like it's a 4-point spread. And so, yeah, Donald Trump is a favorite, but like not by that much. Like if you look at the whole thing comes down to 7 states. It's Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Georgia, Arizona, and Nevada. Those 7 states are the ones that are really in play. New Hampshire is, even though they've had some good polls lately for Trump, not really probably in play. Minnesota, no, we won't go there. Ohio and Florida are no longer in play. Texas isn't in play. It's really just those 7 states. So you got to win 4 of them. Like if Kamala Harris wins Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin, she'll win by 2 electoral votes. It'll be 270, and she loses the rest. It'll be 270 to 268. That's how close it'll be. So, but those are like, but if Trump wins Pennsylvania, that's the biggest of all the swing states. Like it's done. It's over. It's say goodnight. Say goodnight. If he wins Michigan, sayonara. It's 𝗫𝗏𝗏𝗏. Like he's gonna win Arizona. He's gonna win Georgia. Like he's killing it in those 2 states in the polls. Like he has not lost in a poll in those 2 states. So like those ones are back. He won those in 2016. Those ones are back because he lost them in 2020. Nevada has gone for the Democrats both times against Trump. He's winning every poll in Nevada. North Carolina went for Trump twice. If that switches up, he's in trouble, right? But if he wins those 4, then he's only got to win one of the other ones. Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, or Michigan. And right now he's winning in all 3. And I'm not saying this to be biased. I'm saying this like I'm calling he's the favorite, like not by much. Like I won't sit up here and be like, oh, he's going to win in a landslide and no, she's got no shot. She certainly has a shot. Like if she could we could certainly wake up a week after the election, because that's how long it takes to pick a president now. We could certainly wake up a week after the election and Kamala Harris could be president-elect of the United States of America. I could totally picture a world in which that happens. Okay. But if you were to, like, you know, if you were given completely odds on this, like if you got even money on both candidates, you'd be stupid not to put your money on Trump because he's a favorite. You'd be dumb not to bet on him if you were given even betting odds. You're not given even betting odds. You got to bet 100 to win 50 with Trump because he's a favorite. So let me I don't even know where my audience stands politically. So I'm going to do a little poll here. Right. Let's see. I got to close this poll. So I don't know who that is, wins with 46% and 35%. So basically, of the people who know who Richard Allen is and follow Delphi, 2 out of 3 of you think that it's not guilty. So that's interesting. All right. All right, I just put the poll up. Let's see. I want to see where my audience stands. Okay, 76% Trump after, well, Jesus Christ, 600 votes already. Holy shit. Here come the mail-ins. But you know what? 2 years ago, this would have been like 90% Trump, maybe probably more, probably like 95%. Who am I kidding? So that shows that, like, I've gotten a lot of new members, new followers or whatever, subscribers that don't subscribe to my politics, but you do subscribe to Free Karen Reed, which is really more important, because that's the one thing about this. It's like, it all happened so fast. And like a week from now, we're going to have a new president-elect probably. And I'll be still talking about Karen Reed. You know what I mean? Like, that's still, I'll get right back to it. So it is what it is. But I would seriously, if you like me, if you like my coverage of Karen Reed, but you don't like Donald Trump, don't watch Tuesday's show. You're not going to like me anymore. So just take a night off. Just take a night off. That's all I'm saying. So anyway, because, just unless you can stomach it, unless you're a grown up who can handle that and handle disagreements and still debate and engage with people that you don't agree with, then it's okay. Then I would stick around. But you don't see that a lot in politics. There's just a lot of, I've gotten so many people that have messaged me and been like, oh my God, you're a Trump star, unfollow. Like, oh, sorry. Sorry. Jeez, I'm not like a diehard. It's not like it defines who I am or anything like that. Like, who gives a shit? Like, who gives a shit? It's just fucking politics. Like, it's like, he's funnier. He's like, I don't think anyone could debate that. He is fun. Like, he's funnier than the comedian that made those racist jokes or whatever during the thing. I never heard of that guy before, but my problem with that guy was he just wasn't very funny. He wasn't like, he wasn't good. The humor was too dry. The audience didn't get it, whereas Trump is just fucking funny. Like, you have to admit, he says some funny shit. When he was president, I remember I would just go down, like, I would smoke weed in the garage a lot after the show. I would just go down to the show and I would smoke weed in the garage, and I would go on my phone and I, would go on Twitter and I'd follow Trump. Okay. And I would just read his tweets, and I would get high and I'd read his tweets, and I would just crack up. Because I would crack up every time I reminded myself, this guy is the president of the United States. Like, this shit, like you felt like you were tripping like every time. Like this shit's wild. I'm high, right? Like I got to be really high that this is happening, where this guy is like talking shit about everyone. He just goes on Twitter. He's like a Twitter troll. He just goes online. He just talks shit. Like that's all he does. He just talks shit about anybody who's pissing him off in that particular moment. And then you're like, I mean, it's immature, but it's fucking funny when you consider the fact that he's president. I don't give a shit. That's hilarious. And if you don't think, I don't know. I think that's fucking hilarious. But anyway, you know, and some people are worried about how this could affect the Karen Reed case, saying a Trump appointed attorney general, you know, could get, I don't know, like the effect it could have on the United States Attorney's Office, right? Like, so a Trump appointed, the argument I heard is that a Trump appointed U.S. attorney for Massachusetts, right, would be more inclined to attack a Democratic district attorney or attorney general. And you know what? I guess that would kind of be a good thing, wouldn't it? Because that Michael Morrissey's a Democrat. So I guess that this would affect somewhat the Karen Reed case. Andrew Lelling was, I mean, I think, I'm a Republican, and Josh Levy is a Democrat, and I think he's doing a great job. I'm very satisfied with Josh Levy. I didn't like Rachel Rollins, but I do like Josh Levy. And like Andrew Lelling was Trump's U.S. attorney, and he was pretty good too. He's the one that went after 𝗫𝗄𝗃 𝗁. He had a really good track record as United States attorney before Rachel Rollins came in, and he is what Michael Morrissey accuses Josh Levy of being. Like he would go after Morrissey for political reasons, whereas Morrissey just accuses Levy of coming after him for political reasons. So you know what I'm saying? So I think either way, Karen Reed's in good shape. I think either way, the federal investigation will continue. If anything, maybe they like Lelling just goes a little faster, you know, we'll see. But anyway, yeah. Lelling's also the guy, I believe. Isn't he the one that took down the state police overtime scandal, if I recall? I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, people we have a Senate race too. Elizabeth Warren's going to win. Let's be real. Like when she beat Scott Brown, that was a lifetime appointment. Like you can't lose. Like that's why that election was so big in 2012. Because like after you're the incumbent, if you were an incumbent Republican, you're going to have to fight for your political life every time. Whereas if you're a Democrat, you're never going to lose. So she's never going to lose. And other than that, I'm big on no on 5. That's my big one. The tips, like fuck that shit. I like tipping. I enjoy tipping. It takes all the fun out of it. Like it's like the one thing us customers get to decide is how much do I love you, you know? And it makes us feel good about ourselves. Doesn't like it feels good to tip like 30-40%, you know? Because it means shit to me. All I do is just write a different number on it. It's not like I'm actually giving you cash. It's just, what the fuck do I know if a couple decimal points are moved here and there, you know? So I'm absolutely voting no on 5. I think that one's going to lose big time. 2 is the one with the MCAS. I don't know how I feel about that. I think if you vote yes, you're voting to get rid of the requirement to graduate, right? As a former teacher, I couldn't stand the MCAS. I thought it was a huge waste of time. I thought it was just a way for the government to oversee what's going on in your classroom and make you teach to the test. See season 4 of The Wire for where that can go wrong. You know, but at the same time, if you can't pass the fucking MCAS, what's wrong with you? Like, come on. But I'm like anti-MCAS. I'm wicked anti-MCAS, but I'm also like, come on, you can't pass the fucking MCAS. Like, that's my argument with that. Come on, if you can't pass the fucking MCAS, what's wrong with you? You know, but I'll probably vote yes. I'll probably vote yes on 2. I'll vote no on 5. I don't even know what the other ones are for. I don't fucking know. 3, 4, 1. Sometimes there's really interesting ballot questions, and sometimes it's just like if it's anything weed related, then I'm really interested in it. But other than that, I don't know. So yeah, Warren's gonna win. Who cares? Like, I don't even know the guy she's running against. I don't care. It doesn't matter. He's gonna lose. Every Republican running for Congress is gonna lose. It's a guarantee. State Senate and state, like the state elections, those are interesting. Like if you saw in some of them, like my friend Kelly Dooner, please vote for her if you live down in her district. Peter Durant in my district for state Senate, I'm gonna vote for him. But yeah. Anyway, let's just jump into the frickin' Vanity Fair. That's what we're here for, right? Okay. Wait a minute. How do I unlock this article? Oh, hold on. I got to get the free version. Hold on. I got the free version. Give me 1 sec to pull it up. I had it earlier. Okay, I got it. Wait, is it not working again? Why is it making me unlock the article? Unlock article. It's making me unlock it. Huh. All right, hold on. How do I get on here? I can't. It's not letting me watch. It's not letting me read it. I can't. It's letting me read part 1. But I can't read part 2. Hold on. Or maybe I go to part 1 and then I click on part 2. Nope. It's making me unlock it. Do you guys have this problem? Come on, Vanity Fair. That's not cool. Yeah, I can go to archive.p. I know how to get around this shit. Hold on. Okay. I could go in a different browser, you're right. Let me try it on Firefox. Good old Firefox. Okay, that seems to be working. Problem solved. Wait. Okay, this one's free. Cool. Got it. All set. All right. So let's read this as a class, shall we? In Massachusetts, defendants need court approval to subpoena documents or physical evidence. Norfolk County Superior Court Judge Bev Kearney agreed to a hearing in May 2023 before the trial began to determine whether Kearney could subpoena phone records for Albert and McCabe, but they opposed the motion. Kearney canceled the court date and denied Reed's request. That, ladies and gentlemen, was the day that I realized how fucked up Beverly Kearney was. That because I was somewhat new to the case. I started following it in mid-April. And then my first hearing was May 3rd. I wore the Turtleboy tie with the green shirt there, the infamous. And that was the first time I met Karen, Reed, Ellen Jackson, David Yannetti, and crew. And the night, the infamous meal, there was no meal. The meal that was no meal of food, the lunch of no lunch. That Natalie told them that we ate together. We did not eat a meal of food. Alan Jackson ate. I ate nothing. Okay. I wasn't hungry. It was 3:00 in the afternoon. It was a weird time. Okay. And so I went to that hearing on May 3rd and wasn't like there was all the McAlberts were there. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, what? These people show their faces? This is what? These people are brazen as fuck. I waited outside for Jen McCabe. She never came. I think she went out like the other door or something. And so I interviewed a couple people who were like uppity towards me in there. Like said something and I followed them around and I'm like, so it was my first hearing. And then May 24th comes around. That was the hearing where I escorted Jen to her car afterwards. But that was a hearing. The evidentiary hearing was supposed to take place on May 25th. And we were supposed to get Proctor on the stand and it was going to be awesome. And Brian Albert and Jen McCabe, they were all supposed to take the stand. The day before, Bev Kearney announces we're going to have a hearing to decide whether or not we're going to have a hearing, even though she already scheduled the hearing. Jackson and Little were already in Massachusetts. They already flown in. So we go to the hearing. She says within 5 minutes that she's decided there's not going to be a hearing. We're not going to have an evidentiary hearing. And like right at that hearing, she denied their motion to get phone records for the Rule 17. It's like on the spot. The whole thing lasted like 15 minutes. I'm like, what the fuck just happened? This bitch is out of control. And she was rude and sassy. And I'm like, wow, the fix is in, man. That's how I knew. We're up against something bad here. Kearney canceled the court date and denied a request. 2 months later, Reed's team asked Kearney to recuse herself, claiming the appearance of bias. Aidan Kearney make my appearance within the first paragraph. Nice to see. The blogger known as Turtleboy, a.k.a. Daddy or Doctor, who has been covering Reed's case, said that he received Facebook DMs from a McCabe family member, Sean, suggesting family ties to Auntie Bev. What happens when you click on that? It just brings you to a CBS story about her. Okay. Kearney rejected that motion, saying, I've never socialized with Sean McCabe or any family members or witnesses who have here in the court. I reject the notion that untrue and unsubstantiated rumors spread on the internet can force a judge to recuse herself from a case. Less than a month later, Kearney reported that Kearney's brother, and by the way, like she investigated herself and determined that she could be impartial. Or no. Impartial? Or partial? Impartial. Wait, no, which one's the good one? Impartial means equal treatment. Yes, she determined she could be impartial. Okay, so, but it doesn't matter. It was the appearance of partiality, but she's like, whatever, I don't really care what you people think of me. Remember, Sean McCabe threatened to murder me and bury my corpse in Auntie Bev's seaside cottage backyard. And as luck would have it, she owned a seaside cottage like 4 miles from where he lived that he somehow knew about. And he was calling her Auntie Bev. Okay. So like, how did he know that? Anyway, less than a month later, Kearney reported that Kearney's brother, attorney John Prescott Jr., represented Chris Albert in a motor vehicle homicide case after he killed a foreign exchange student in 1994. I love how this is now on the public record. It's not just me saying it. It's not just Turtleboy out there holding a sign saying Chris Albert killed a man. Like now we have Beverly Kearney, right? Being called out in the context of Chris Albert killing a man and being represented by Beverly Kearney's brother. Like that is, no matter what happens, this article will always be there. Like Chris Albert hid that when he ran for selectman in 2022, I think he ran. Yeah. Chris was sentenced to 6 months in prison after a 30-hour manhunt. Vanity Fair has spoken to a source confirming Kearney's brother represented Chris Albert. At the time the story went to print, Kearney was slated to preside over Reed's second trial. Kearney declined to respond to all of Vanity Fair's questions. I love that. I love that Vanity Fair asked her to comment, and she's like, I have no comment. I fucking love that she couldn't get an answer out of them. Okay. That they couldn't get an answer out of her. I apologize. Like, it puts her on the spot. She looks so bad. Like, she got called out for this, man. This is a huge first paragraph. So much good shit is in here. Chris Albert getting called out for killing a man. Beverly Cannoni's brother. Like, you know how many people didn't know that, and now they do? That's great shit. A year after O'Keefe's death, Reed got a partial extraction of McCabe's phone. Contrary to the state police report, which found no relevant search history, Reed's expert discovered that McCabe Googled, "How long to die in cold" at 2:27 a.m. and deleted the search. He determined that McCabe also deleted 18 phone calls from that day, including, and I love how they include this part because a lot of people forget about this, including calls to her sister Nicole at 6:07 and 6:08 that were answered because they said they slept through the whole thing. It says right on there, answered. Like, how do they explain that? Well, they weren't answered. That was her explanation. I don't know why it says that. I don't know why all this technology is saying the things that it does. Though the Albert said they slept through the commotion of the discovery of O'Keefe's body. The bed, she puts in here, their bedroom overlooks the front yard. During the trial, McCabe denied making the Google search before 6 a.m., claiming she only did so at Reed's request after O'Keefe's body was discovered. She also denied deleting the search, denied that Nicole picked up their phones, and denied deleting phone calls from her call log. Like, wasn't me. That's her answer. Wasn't me. The prosecution's expert said the 2:27 timestamp is not indicative of the time of the search, claiming McCabe could have searched in a window opened at 2:27 a.m. Vanity Fair hired 𝗵𝗵𝗃𝗃. And you go to his page. Let's check out this guy. Oh, there he is. Like, look at this guy. That guy is so much smarter and cooler and more refined and trustworthy than the joke experts hired by the prosecution. Like, I just look at Jessica Hyde and I'm like, why is that thing on her head? Why? Like, come on, dude. How do you expect to be taken seriously looking like that? Like, you're not Taliban, lady. What are you doing? Like, you're not. You're a white woman named Jessica. Why are you wearing that on your fucking head? Like, I don't get it. And no, he's a professor. Granted, it's Purdue, okay? And I'm a Notre Dame fan, so I don't really think highly of Purdue. But it is a university, okay? And he is an associate professor there. And he's a director of ubiquitous and mobile investigative techniques and technology labs. So this seems to be exactly what he does. He's a PhD, okay? He's got a name that's hard to pronounce. So he's probably smart. All right? And like, look at all this shit he does. I can't even read. Look at his bio. He's got PhD degrees in computer science from Florida State. His research interests broadly lie in digital forensics, cybersecurity, forensic intelligence, user and data privacy, artificial intelligence. Where did Ian Whiffen go to school? Does anyone know what Ian Whiffen's education is? Like, can anyone fill? I don't know it off the top of my head. Maybe he's a PhD too. I don't know. Does anyone know what Whiffen was besides a guy trying to pimp out his new app called ArtX? Anybody know? Not even an associate's degree. Do you go to University of Phoenix? University of Alberta? I don't even know. And who lives in Alberta? So I don't know. I guess we can't get a straight answer on this one. Looks like people are guessing. I'm going to look up Ian Whiffen's biography. Ian Whiffen, education. See what comes up. He boasts an impressive 17-year career in policing. Oh my God. His journey in digital forensics began in 2013 when he joined the Calgary Police. What? He was a cop? Over the last decade, he worked on thousands of devices, tackling a wide variety of cases. His hands-on experience has often led him to develop innovative research and custom-coded solutions, which he generally shares on his website, 𝗕𝗿𝗵𝗆.com. Okay. So it doesn't look like he's got much of an education in anything. Like, that's it. So this guy's a joke. Clearly he's a joke. Whereas this guy over here, I mean, look at this guy. That's a sharp guy right there. 𝗏𝗏. I'm taking 𝗏𝗏 any day of the week. Any day of the week over these other clowns. But I digress. Okay, back to the story. He didn't go to college. Okay. Yeah, it's like, bro, where did they find this guy? Like, Ian Whiffen, you went on an international search and that's the best you could find. In Vanity Fair, it's like, well, let's just go get this guy. He's got a PhD, teaches at University of Purdue, or PU, Purdue University. Yeah. And he says he specializes in iPhone artifacts and the limitations of digital forensics to evaluate the prosecution's expert testimony, as well as an affidavit from Reed's expert. Based on my research and expertise, I concur with what I see in the affidavit of Richard Green. Through the browser tab, though the browser tab was opened earlier than the searches. So the browser tabs were opened earlier than the searches. The timestamp for the search items is recorded for searches and stored in the database, not the time of the tab opening. I mean, that's just kind of common sense, right? That's like saying that anyone who has tabs open on their phone at all, the Google search is not legitimate if you have a tab open. I've got like 80 something tabs open right now. How many tabs do I have open right now on my Safari? 138 tabs. Why do I have that many fucking tabs open? Because I never close them. So he noted that Green additionally verified the search times with associated write-ahead log files that are occasionally overlooked. So Green is the winner. There you go. And if I'm Karen Reed, well, I guess it costs a lot of money. It's like, okay, how about we get like 10? By the way, the Dodgers just came back. Holy shit. How about we get like 10, specialists? Because we're gonna win that one. Like, we lost because we only had one. We didn't lose, but like they created doubt about our doubt. Anyway, back to this. Jackson's cross-examination of McCabe became so heated, with the prosecution's witness repeatedly asking to see her prior grand jury statements, that, as one juror told Vanity Fair, it felt like they should have served drinks and appetizers. Supposedly, this is the most traumatic thing of your life, and you don't remember what you said? That juror adds, there were so many times I just wanted to yell out, can you shut up? Tell the truth. Just tell the truth. Wow. I didn't get any answers like that when I interviewed jurors. Wow. So that sounds like a not guilty juror. So I'm assuming this is one of the ones that got eliminated. I'm guessing, because they obviously feel quite strongly about that. All right. 32,709 texts. O'Keefe's death wasn't the first time that Norfolk County law enforcement found themselves facing allegations of a cover-up. In the death of Sandra Birchmore, a pregnant 23-year-old, ruled a suicide. 3 Stoughton cops banged her and met her in the youth program. A forensic pathologist hired by Birchmore's family said that she was killed by strangulation in August. And again, as soon as they said that, as soon as they announced that that it was a homicide, and that was in June of this year. As soon as they announced that this was a homicide, if I'm Matthew Farwell, I'm moving to Mexico. Like, as soon as I hear that, like, well, that's it. Like, it's only a matter of time till they're getting you, pal. Like, the second they called it a homicide, because that means she didn't kill herself, which means someone did, and you're the only suspect. So it's only a matter of time until they come and arrest yo ass, which is just nuts. You know what I thought about today too? It doesn't seem that long ago that Matthew Farwell was arrested, but he's been in jail for more than 2 months now. I spent 2 months in jail myself, and it was the longest fucking time ever. But at least I knew I was getting out. He doesn't. He has to know that, like, probably never gonna get out. That's gotta really suck, you know. But I mean, I didn't kill someone, so I was actually innocent. I didn't actually belong in there. He did, and I was just thinking about that. Like, time flies by when you're not in jail. Like, it's wild. When you're in jail, it's the exact opposite. It goes so fucking slow. But anyway, back to the story. Okay. Oh, and how it relates to this whole thing with the Karen Reed thing. Man, I'm not one of these guys that's like, oh, any day now the feds are going to come. Like, I don't know when the feds are going to come. I don't know. But I do know I feel a lot more confident that they're coming after reading this article. I really do, especially with some of the comments that were made here. Okay. All right. In August, federal prosecutors charged Farwell with murder to cover up the sexual relationship. When it became clear that he could no longer... Okay, so we've read all this about Farwell. A 45-page affidavit outlines damning evidence the state police overlooked, like a new stroller in her apartment and an appointment for a newborn baby photo shoot, both indicating her excitement about the baby. And while state police said they had not found texts between Birchmore and Farwell, the FBI found 32,709, as well as messages from Birchmore to her friends. About a week before her death, she texted one that Farwell had dropped in an upbeat mood. He asked if I'd give him a key and said that if I keep it a secret, he'll be around. Then he looked in my closet. I don't know why. Haven't figured that out yet. Days later, she was found hanging from that very closet. So it's good that they got that in there, because it's like the same. Julie Miller is making the connection. It's like same people. She's hitting some good shit here. And then I make my debut with Twisted Tragedies. Oh, goodness gracious. That's a good picture. I like that picture. Not of her. But okay, so back to this. Before Reed's case reached national attention levels, it was a local curiosity, most obsessively covered by Turtleboy. The moniker refers to a statue of a boy riding a turtle, which has become a lewd inside joke in his hometown of Worcester. As interest snowballed, Turtleboy cranked out more than 400 installments of the Canton cover-up and hundreds of live YouTube videos, earning him as much as $50,000 a month. So they got that information from Boston Magazine, the piece they did to me. I am not making $50,000 a month. I am not. I wish I was. That'd be awesome. But I think at the time there was months where like that amount of revenue was coming in, but you also know mo money, mo problems. Like my expenses are through the roof. Hosting, like with Turtle Club, all these new membership, it costs a lot more money to host it. And then there's the legal fees. I don't even want to tell you guys what I'm paying for legal fees. It ain't Karen Reed money, but it's significant. It's a good chunk of cash. But, you know, and you're right, Boston Brandy. I do smile endlessly, you know, because I know that it's going to be worth it. Like when I'm standing on the courthouse steps there, it's like that. Does that look like a guy who's rattled? That was not the face that they expected that day. When I came out on those courthouse steps, a free man, I'm just like, let's fuck. Let's get out there. Let's do this shit. This means nothing to me, man. Absolutely nothing to me. Let's do it. All right. So, as off the wall as Turtleboy is with some of his reporting techniques, I said if there's anybody that's going to go get this out there, it would be him. He answers to nobody, John Silvera, Reed's friend of 30 years, told me. So John had followed me before. I don't think Karen Reed really did, but John definitely had. Some of his, and he had kind of recommended. So Karen Reed is sitting there, her team is sitting there, and they're not getting any media coverage of this. And they're like, what the fuck? How is nobody interested in this, you know? And along came Turtleboy one day, and then everything changed. Now it's very different outside the courthouse now. Like there was no pink people there before. There was no pom-poms. There was certainly no $500,000 in donations, like events, raffles. Like it's so, you know, I like to think I had something to do with that. But anyway, Some of his reporting techniques were indeed off the wall or flat out aggressive. He confronted McCabe at her daughter's lacrosse game to ask her about the Google search. He was asked to leave. He appeared at a Canton government meeting where Chris Albert is on the board, holding a sign that read, "Chris Albert killed a man," in reference to a 1994 crash. Quote, "When I believe in something, I don't just say, oh, here's the facts. I go out and I hold protests." So that's what he's been doing. Yeah, I mean, that's it. That I did interview with Vanity Fair for this because unlike the McAlberts, I'm not afraid to talk to the media and defend myself because I have nothing to hide. And yeah, you know, I like how I like how she included the part where I stood next to Chris Albert at that meeting. Like that would have been an awesome picture. I'd almost rather have that than the Twisted Tragedies one. It's like I'm superimposed in there or something. Like it's hard to believe that's real. Like Chris Albert is sitting there trying to conduct a meeting. He's wearing a suit for the first time in his life. And I'm standing there holding a sign saying Chris Albert killed a man. And they all just had to, it's all they could think about was my presence. And they just had to pretend like I wasn't there. So there's that. If you believe Reed's innocent, Turtleboy's in-your-face approach is catharsis in the face of brazen corruption. I like that. If you believe she's guilty, Turtleboy is an abhorrent opportunist. Outside the Dedham courthouse in August, before a Reed hearing, a woman in a blue Justice for JJ shirt tells me Turtleboy is a despicable human being because of what he has done. So that's a well thought out statement. Why is he despicable? Because of what he's done. What's he done? I don't know, but it's despicable. Pointing to the pink-clad Free Karen Reed supporters, she says, and these are all his followers. When the blue shirts start chanting justice for JJ, the pink side joins in. A woman in pink peace sign earrings tells me they don't understand that we want justice for JJ too. I love that. That was, I got to take credit for that. When they started chanting justice for JJ, we joined in. We're like, yeah, we were louder about it. And we just took it away from them. Like, you're not going to own that. You're not going to own justice for John O'Keefe. You're not. We're going to own it because we've been here before you were there. I've been demanding justice for John O'Keefe long before you came around. None of you people could even be bothered to show up for a single day at the trial. All the shit you talked was online, all of it, until the Food Stamp 5 showed up and just embarrassed the fuck out of you. Like, I know they think that was a productive day because they're stupid and trashy, and they left all of their, free range closet babies at home. And, they thought that was a productive thing. The moose knuckles were out, the fupas, the fupas were hanging out. They were in rare form like that day. They couldn't have acted any better. That was a beautiful thing that happened. Like I couldn't pick 5 more appropriate people to come out and represent their side than the Food Stamp 5. Like, thank God it wasn't someone articulate or smart or intelligent. Like, it was the Food Stamp 5. And it just like, thank God they got on TV. It was exactly what we wanted. It was exactly what we wanted. Couldn't have been any better. Okay. 6 months into his coverage, Kearney was arrested and charged with witness intimidation before the Commonwealth served him with the second helping of charges. He served 60 days in jail after his bail was revoked because of an assault charge that, according to the Boston Herald, has since been dropped. I appreciate how she puts that in there. It's been dropped. Kearney maintains his innocence. It's obviously a lot more complicated than that, but I'm happy that she said it's dropped. As part of its case against Turtleboy, the Commonwealth revealed that Kearney and Reed logged 189 phone calls. And I say, Karen's the subject of my reporting, and I spoke to her. That's traditionally known as journalism. Just a boss killing it, man. Boss comment right there. Traditionally known as journalism. Like, Julie Miller stayed at Karen Reed's house. I didn't do that. I didn't get any sleepovers. No meals of food were provided. Nothing. I haven't gotten shit. No Lexuses. Nothing. She owes me. Just kidding. She doesn't owe me shit. But Like, to say this, like, oh, they talked on the phone 189 times. Yeah, I'm sure. How many times did Julie Miller talk to her? Is she conspiring too? Is this, they might say that. They might say that this Vanity Fair article is witness intimidation. They might. All right, back to this. In connection with Kearney's case, 𝗵𝗧𝗃 convened a grand jury in March, a month before her trial, to try to have her indicted on charges of conspiracy to commit witness intimidation. The jury did not vote to charge. Had the DA, it wasn't really the DA, it was Special Prosecutor Kearney, been successful, Reed's bail would have been revoked. Although, you know, we all know 𝗵𝗧𝗃's pulling his strings, and she would have gone to jail. 𝗵𝗧𝗃 also declined to comment. So I like how they put that in there. They tried and failed to do that. Turtle riders, what Kearney calls his readers, send him tips. One noticed that McCabe's car, with an easily identifiable with vanity license plate, was parked outside Proctor's house and snapped a photo. It was an easily identifiable plate, but what got me in trouble was I made a post saying, can anyone run a license plate for me? And then 10 people volunteered, one of whom was Janelle Webb, and she ran the license plate for me. And because of that, she was charged with conspiracy, or she was indicted for conspiracy to commit witness intimidation. Wasn't charged, just in bizarre. I've never seen this before. Indicted for conspiracy to commit witness intimidation. So that's that. But, you know, but this is what I'm saying. Like now, like my journalism, what I liked about this article is that it didn't highlight my activism, which is what they always bring up. When I'm proud of my activism, I'm proud of the fact that I'm leading protests. And, you know, whenever they show me on Dateline or something, I'm like walking down the street, taking pictures with people, having my megaphone out, doing my thing. Whereas in this article, they're talking about my journalism. They're talking about the article about Beverly Kearney, Beverly Kearney's stupid brother there that was Chris Albert's lawyer. They're talking about this whole situation with the picture, right? Journalism. So that's what I like about this one. It's a different light. Supporters raised $5,000 to put up the Free Karen Reed billboard. The billboard owner believes so much in Reed's innocence that he left it up for over a year without additional payment. That's nice. In August of 23, 𝗵𝗧𝗃 issued a video statement, and we all know what this one was. We'll skip that. We've all heard that before. Never have I seen such an unethical conduct from a prosecutor, he said in court when he tried to disqualify her, but shockingly, the judge denied that motion. Reed housed Yannetti, Jackson Little, and herself in the same hotel throughout the trial so they could maximize preparation time. She paid $1.2 million leading up to and during the 9-week court proceedings between bails, accommodating, feeding, and transporting 3 lawyers and hiring PIs and experts. So to be clear, the $1.2 million was not for housing them during the trial. I would estimate, I mean, she's got to get 5 hotel rooms for 10 weeks. Like, bro, $200. So it's like $1,000 a night, minimum. I'm being conservative there. $1,000 a night times how many nights? What is that? 70 days. So 70 times 1,000, 70,000, right? Just for hotels. And then there's the meals and the flights and all, and the experts. Richard Green costs more than her lawyers, man. This shit's expensive as fuck, dude. And then like it's just crazy. For that, she used her savings, about $500,000 from her since depleted legal fund, and $400,000 donated by friends and family. She now has more than $5 million in deferred legal bills. Whew. The first one was trial on a budget, according to Reed. Since she couldn't afford to fly out support staff from Jackson and Little's firm, she became the support staff herself. She negotiated rates with 2 Uber drivers to shuttle the team to and from court. She is aware that her team has been photographed exiting discounted SUVs and surrounded by volunteer security and dining out. The bill is often picked up by friends and family members. As for criticism that her team occasionally enjoys upscale restaurants, she says, you try feeding Alan Jackson McDonald's. She's so good in this article as far as just humanizing herself. I think this article did wonders about improving her public image, because I would say that's her biggest weakness in general is her public image. I don't think the clips from Dateline before the Dateline was fully aired, like what they showed, the Fox 25 interview, the stuff they would choose to show, I don't think it was a positive, a net gain, that she gained anything from that. Her confidence coming out of court, we all like it, but it rubs some people the wrong way. The faces that she makes in court, we all like it, but it clearly rubs some people the wrong way. And some of them are on the jury. And so I think this article did a very good job, I think, in just kind of explaining who she is and making it make sense, if that makes sense. Okay. We don't typically work that closely with clients, but in this case, we needed every hand on deck, Liza Little said. About 10 months after O'Keefe's death, the U.S. Attorney's Office impaneled the grand jury as part of an investigation into an unspecified federal crime related to the Norfolk County's handling of the Reed case. The impetus is unknown. Levy will not comment on active investigations, and nearly 2 years into the probe, they have not yet reached a conclusion. Quote, this is from Tom Nolan, a 27-year Boston police officer turned criminal justice professor at Emmanuel College. When the FBI steps in, that usually is an indication that they are in possession of some information that is extremely damaging to the law enforcement agencies involved. Whew, especially when they're involved for this long. That's not good. Last year, the Alberts, McCabe's, and other witnesses were subpoenaed to testify before the federal grand jury. It is incredibly logistically complicated to pursue a federal investigation into an active state murder investigation, in part because two agencies are interviewing the same witnesses simultaneously. 𝗪𝗏 Hafer, a former federal prosecutor and 𝗀𝗄𝐿 LLP partner, tells me, I can't think of any time in my 14 years in the U.S. Attorney's Office where that happened. Presumably, it's some type of federal obstruction or witness tampering investigation, a cover-up of some sort. So you got two veteran law enforcement experts here, if you will, saying that this is a really big deal. This isn't some small thing. They're not doing this if there isn't evidence. And that's why I feel a lot better about the federal investigation after reading this. Like, it's going to happen one day. Today was a tease. We saw today that the FBI raided a house in Weymouth. And I don't know what's going on with that. That could be a complete nothing burger and have nothing to do with anything. But the fact of the matter is that that house in Weymouth, a state police cruiser basically sits outside of the house every day. It wasn't just that one day on Google Earth. It is every day. So that's what people in Weymouth are telling me. Like, we see that car there all the time. And then the FBI raids the house. That's interesting. So it could be totally unrelated, but we'll see. All right. In these types of cases, it's common for prosecutors to grant certain witness immunity to help them determine what happened and whether there is a provable federal crime. The U.S. Attorney's Office has always prioritized the prosecution of law enforcement misconduct. The prosecution of law enforcement misconduct is prioritized. Making false statements to a federal agent is a felony. So felony carrying a 5-year sentence. So if any of these people lied, they are fucked, man. They're going to use that against them. Like, we know you lied about this on the stand, and you know they lied. You know Colin lied. He definitely lied. If Colin was asked what time he left the house, then he lied. Period. Shortly before the trial began, the feds provided more than 3,000 pages of findings, including Proctor's disgusting text messages. We won't relive those. The federal investigation found that Brian Albert destroyed his cell phone the day before receiving a protection order. Higgins asked another federal agent, Matt Kelch, for advice on extracting phone data. Only specific phone data. months later, and then he used a federal thing for personal business. You remember he like admitted to a crime on this, his lawyer had to come up. That was wild. Months later, he drove to a military base to dispose of his destroyed phone and SIM card. He testified that the target of a different investigation had found his contact information. Right. Somehow some guy he's investigating found his phone number out. So he's like, well, better go to the army base and get rid of my SIM card instead of, I don't know, changing my phone number. Always an option. He spent much of the following day passing through the garage where Reed's car was eventually kept until about 6 p.m. The federal investigation found a 22-second phone call between Albert and Higgins at 2:22 a.m. when they both had said that they were sleeping. And they explained that with butt dials. One was a butt dial. The other was a butt answer while fucking. I feel like that's an important thing. Like they didn't both say they butt dialed. One butt answered while he may have been butt fucking. That's wild. Maybe, just maybe, he should have said that. How did that happen, sir? Oh, you see, we play this game. What do you mean you play a game? Oh, so, we've been married for a long time. You got to spice it up a bit. So I stick my iPhone up Nicole's asshole, and then I just fuck her until the phone answers when Higgins calls. It's a game we play. Oh, that makes perfect sense then. That makes perfect sense. So you just fucked her until you answered the phone. Now before I thought you were a shady guy, but that actually makes perfect sense. You hid the iPhone up Nicole Albert's ass. Now it all makes sense. And again, we're laughing about this, but this is like what he said, dude. This is what it's on vibrate. A girl likes what a girl likes. No judgment. Oh my goodness. Okay. Anyway, back to this. Though the federal findings were disclosed, 𝗵𝗺cie appealed to Kearney days before the trial began to prohibit mention of the federal investigation in court. Kearney approved the request, meaning they couldn't even utter the letters FBI. When questioning forensic reconstructionists hired by the DOJ, the most Jackson could say was that they were hired by an independent agency. Several jurors reportedly took that to mean that they worked for an insurance company. That matters so much. So much. All right, carrying on. 𝗵𝗺cie attempted to have the federal investigation transferred out of Massachusetts. Wouldn't he like that? Arguing that the U.S. attorney in office when the probe began had been biased against him. Wait till he meets Andrew Lelling, if he does. He was unsuccessful. In a letter dated August 2023, the USAO told 𝗵𝗺cie that Levy, quote, had a very different opinion of the circumstances in this case than as presented in Mr. 𝗵𝗺cie's letter, and that the U.S. government, quote, believes it is essential to continue their investigation given the information of which they are aware. A bargain with God. The Dedham courthouse, so they talk about 𝗪𝗂 and Vanzetti. It is interesting here how she says that they were wrongly convicted of robbery and murder before being executed. To be clear, as a historian, we don't know that they didn't do it. If you read about 𝗪𝗂 and Vanzetti, I think what most people would argue is they didn't get a very fair trial, and there was certainly plenty of reasonable doubt in their case. But they might have done it. That's what I'm saying. So, like, they were not altar boys, 𝗪𝗂 and Vanzetti. Like, they were up to shenanigans. Like, they were anarchists. They subscribed to a violent ideology. But we don't know that. They also were victims of xenophobia, and I don't know if being racist against Italians counts as racism, but racism in that regard. All right. Anyway, the wildest moment during an already wild trial involves security video from inside the Canton PD. We all know about this. 𝗵𝗏𝗏, 𝗵𝗏𝗏𝗧𝗂𝗏, the Commonwealth played the video appearing to show that no one in the station went near the tail light in contention, the right one. but it showed Proctor behind the left taillight. But of course, this was really the right one. And they say that they hadn't seen the video beforehand and hadn't been entered during discovery. I was in court that day, and that was the one day where the Reed team looked like they were completely caught off guard and unprepared. Like they were like looking around like, what the fuck? They were huddling, conferencing, pointing shit out, and like something was up with that tape. Like something was up. And I'm reading the online comments and people are like, it's inverted. It's inverted. And yes, it was Dukakis that pardoned them. Okay. Back to this. Yeah, so we know all about this with 𝗵𝗂𝗺. We're going to skip that part. Wait. Oh, so no, the juror, here's the juror's quote about the 𝗵𝗂𝗺 inverted video. I'm like, are you kidding me right now? One of the jurors says. That was like, holy shit. They did this on purpose. This wasn't just an accident where they didn't know it wasn't inverted. Or it was inverted. I couldn't believe that a state police sergeant was defending this in open court. Right. So that was not a good look. At certain points in the trial, Reed's team believed 3 specific jurors displayed visible disgust at certain prosecution side actions, such as Proctor's offensive texts about Reed. The day of closing arguments, according to Kearney, one of these jurors was dismissed after a state police officer, Fanning, who had been on one of the text chains with Proctor and was in charge of the jury, accused a juror of speaking about the trial at a bar weeks earlier. That officer did not respond to Vanity Fair's question. So Fanning, he doesn't deny it. He's given the opportunity to deny it, and he just doesn't talk. Doesn't talk. Interesting. In Massachusetts, alternate and people in the comments asking, how did Vanity Fair speak with a juror? Keep in mind, 5 jurors have reached out to the defense. So they have spoken, the Karen Reed defense team has spoken to more jurors than I have. One of the jurors that I spoke with did not speak with the Reed team. So there's that. All right. In Massachusetts, alternate jurors are selected at the end of the trial, not the beginning. So of 14 potential jurors, 2 were removed after closing arguments. The clerk magistrate pulled 2 tiles from a rotating bingo style box. The magistrate did not show the numbers, but said that they belonged to the other 2 potentially sympathetic jurors, and all 3 seemingly sympathetic jurors being removed from the deliberating pool. Let me tell you something. I've gotten to know one of the jurors that was eliminated. And let me tell you, strong personality on this one. Strong personality. All right. And that would matter a lot. That would matter a lot in the deliberation room, because you needed strong personalities in there to stand up to the foreman and stand up to John. I mean, what's his name? He's the engineer, the bald guy, him. And like, they were the bullies in the room. And so like, this alternate juror, man, like, she would have fucked shit up in there. She was not playing around. All right. She was not playing around. Like, I know it, like the jurors, that the 3 that held the line, God bless them. But I could tell just by looking at them that they weren't like the type to, you know, try to convince you, or I mean, maybe they were, maybe I read them wrong, but they just didn't seem like, they seemed like the quiet types. You know, you need a strong personality in there. And they, not only did they get rid of the not guilty people, they got rid of the strong personality people. So I think that helped a lot. All right. Real quick, let me do it. Let me take a break from this. Let me read a couple donos. We're a little more than halfway through it. A little dono break here. Get some turtle chats in. All right. First one up is Sean, sends $10 and says, can we get Jay Grant dressed as Giannetti to FaceTime Giannetti as future Giannetti for a show. If we can ever get Giannetti to actually show up for a whole, like, he's so inconsistent. It's like impossible to find that guy. He's got 1 million Facebooks, all of which he's accused me of hacking into. I can't reach the guy, but that would be funny. Thank you. Then You Ain't Black sends $5 and goes, why did 𝗚𝗏𝗄𝐶 Insider call Andrea Burkhart a fraud recently over her take on the Delphi trial or something to that effect? One of the many reasons I dislike Australian people. Well, don't agree with that. I definitely like Australian people a lot because they make up a good part of the Turtle Rider fan base, especially down in Melbourne. They love me in Melbourne. It's completely opposite part of the globe, but they love me down there, even though the toilets go the wrong way. But I like 𝗚𝗏𝗄𝐶 Insider. I like Andrea Burkhart too. So I don't really care if one doesn't like the other. I like them both. So there's that. So thank you very much for the dono. And unfortunately, I can't go on her program tomorrow because of Halloween. And I told her that, but we'll find another time. Thomas sends $5 and goes, if there is a tie for electoral votes, wouldn't it be decided by the Senate, which is evenly divided, meaning the tie-breaking vote would be Kamala? You know, I think it would go that way. No delegates in the 2020 primary inserted as VP, overthrow Joe. That would be a wild scenario, but it's not going to happen because the only way it could be a tie 269 is if the Nebraska 2nd district or the Maine 2nd district do some sort of abrupt turn, because those are the two states that all their electoral votes don't have to go to the same person. So they have, there's the district that has Omaha in it in Nebraska is liberal. And so one of those electoral votes is going to go to Kamala Harris. And I don't see, as long as, and the one in Maine, the Maine 2nd congressional district, the one that's like in the boonies, that one's going to go to Trump. So the only way it could be 269 to 269, like if Trump takes Arizona, Georgia, Nevada, and North Carolina, and Harris takes Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania, it would be 270 to 268. The only way it could get 269 is if the Nebraska 2nd congressional district goes to Trump, which ain't going to happen. So it's an interesting scenario, but it's probably not going to happen. There we go. Oh, no. Back to the chats here. Cynthia sends $25 and has no comment. Thank you, Cynthia. David sends $10 and goes, celebrity sandwich death match. David loves these celebrity sandwich death matches, which is just, I love the idea of it. Just putting two, I haven't read who he puts in this celebrity sandwich death match here, but just imagine a big Italian hoagie in the middle of a room, extra hots, extra mayo, you know, you name it, pickles, Italian dressing, the works. A big fat one in the middle of the room, just sitting there. And then you got two, and only one person can get it, but you got to kill the other person for it. And you're both starving. So this is the scenario. Who's he got in this death match? He's got Julie Bagel versus Megabeth. Didn't he have that last time? Versus Natalie the German. Sponsored by Subway. If we get a sponsor, imagine a 3-way fight. Oh, I don't know who would win that one, but no, not a hoagie, whatever you call it, a grinder, as we call it. I think I like the word hoagie more though. But anyway, thank you, David. A hoagie, as they call in Philly, hoagie. All right, I've got some cash apps. I don't think I read all the cash apps earlier. I read Katrina's about Kamala Harris, and then I went on a rant. But Jane earlier in the night sends $20 and says, your shirt is everything. Free Karen Reed. Yeah, I'm the Intimidator. They call me the Intimidator. And that was a joke I made in jail. Like, I was called the Intimidator by the Commonwealth in the Karen Reed case. They're like, they're referring to the Intimidator, also known as Aidan Kearney. And I'm like, bro, the only Intimidator is in my pants. And it just kind of stuck. So there we go. Thank you, Jane. Brian sends $5 and goes, much love from Brian, Repetto, and Quincy. Free Turtleboy. Well, thank you, Brian. I appreciate that. Neil sends $25 and goes, please wish my wife, Cheryl, a happy birthday for tomorrow. Happy birthday, Cheryl Kelleher. I assume that's your last name if you're Neil's wife. So thank you very much. Happy birthday, Cheryl. Okay. We love you. Lorraine sends $5 and goes, love you long time. Free Karen Reed. I love you long time too, Lorraine. I appreciate that. And Stephen Weeks sends $10 and goes, Jen calls Nicole asleep at 6:30 a.m. No, 4:53. Jen calls Nicole. Does she? She told Karen Reed she did. Asleep at 6:30 a.m. Yeah, exactly. Doesn't add up. So, let me just refresh this. We don't have any more. JD Lev sends $13 and says, hi, my 11-year-old is absolutely obsessed with the retrial and all your hard work you've put into it, which I've been sharing with her. I hope to bring her to one of your rallies one day so she can witness the history you're making. Could you give her a shout out? Her name is Rosalie Love. Yes, I will absolutely give Rosalie Love a shout out for being the coolest 11-year-old girl out there. I'm happy that she's obsessed with the retrial and that she likes what we're doing over here at Turtleboy and helping to get, you know, this is history, little girl, but what you're witnessing right now, this is really important stuff. This is an innocent woman who could be any of us. And it's a beautiful thing that we've got going on here, that all these people coming together for justice. It brings tears to my eyes. Like when I see all these freaking people everywhere, every day. And sometimes I have to remind myself that, like, oh shit, I started this. Like, this is wild. This is a real freaking movement that's just not going anywhere. It's not dying. It's increasing. It's just, it never stops. Never stops. So thank you very much for that one. All right, let's get back to the Vanity Fair article, shall we? If anyone else wants to have their messages read, click at the link at the top for Turtle Chat, or you can cash me a $sign Uncle Turtleboy. After the day of closing arguments, Albert and McCabe appeared in the courtroom's small gallery, directly facing the jurors. One juror says that they felt intimidated by their presence, calling it, quote, completely and utterly inappropriate. They were substantial focal points of the trial. I can't believe they were allowed to stare the jury down. Interesting. They were allowed to stay. I mean, that means it has to be a deliberating juror and not the one that was eliminated, or else they wouldn't have been stared down, would they? A spokesperson for Brian Albert says that the O'Keefe family asked his client to attend. So there you go. I mean, in case you were at all inclined to feel bad for Peggy and Paul O'Keefe, it's like they want to be villains, you know? Like, it's like they want you to shit on them. And then, like, oh, you're attacking the O'Keefe family. They're such pieces of shit. They really are. Just shitty fucking people. They're so unlikable. You want to like the dead guy's mom and brother. You're inclined to like them. Just naturally. You know, the victim's brother and the victim's mom, especially. Like, but they have managed to make themselves the least sympathetic people by their disgusting behavior in the courtroom, by Peggy laughing and doing that thing to David Yannetti, by Paul O'Keefe's crotch and his stare downs of Karen Reed in court, by their bringing the fake victim to court with them. Oh, where's Lindsay? Oh, you know. Well, I mean, it's Tuesday at 2:30, so she's probably drunk off Fireball and sucking dick in an alley somewhere. Statistically saying, I'm just saying. Peggy, I don't know. You tell me. You're the one that brought her. But, like, they made themselves so unlikable, and then just to make it worse, they brought the McAlberts with them, like the worst McAlberts. Brian Albert, who they testified they barely knew. They're like, yeah, there's only 10 seats in here. And John's dad doesn't get one of them, so fuck it, you get one. Reed, her lawyers, and her family spent 5 days on verdict watch in a church rectory near the courthouse. She was called back into court on day 2 for what turned out to be question, but thinking it might be the verdict, she realized how unprepared she was. Could I be in a jail cell in 20 minutes? My first thought was, I need to use the bathroom. because I don't know if I'm going to be able to have a private bathroom again. Well, Karen, you probably wouldn't if you were put in medical like I was. I didn't have, there's a camera on me the entire time. Like, it's fucking weird. And you just got used to it after a while, but it's like, bro, like no privacy. I couldn't find my brother. I'm like, what if I can't hug Nathan? She says, at the end of the day, when the judge dismissed everyone, Reed broke down. Her head hurt so badly that she wondered if she had ever been breathing. Then she began bargaining with God. I'll take a mistrial. You can keep me in limbo for 10 more years. Just please let me go home tonight. Man, that's so real. Like that comment. What a picture that is too right there, huh? Woof. What a great picture that is. On July 1st, Kearney read the jury's note aloud, which stated that they were at an impasse. In the very next breath, she declared a mistrial. It was over, like a guillotine drop, says Jackson. They were given no information before that. Some wondered why her defense team didn't object. The judge has one primary responsibility, and that is to charge the jury correctly, says Jackson. When the jury comes back and says, we are at an impasse, you have an additional responsibility to say, an impasse on what? There's 3 counts here. Exactly. And we'll see what the SJC has to say about that in about a week. A week from today, I believe, right? Yeah, 1 week from today. Within days, Reed's lawyers heard about 5 jurors who were disturbed by the outcome. 4 contacted the defense directly. The jurors said that they agreed to unanimously acquit her. We've been over this. And how about this? In an interview with Turtleboy, like, bro, I am getting shout outs left and right in this article. Love Julie Miller. She's a real journalist, real recognized real, as they say. And in an interview with Turtleboy, a 6th juror alleged that 2 jurors wanted to contact Kearney during deliberations, alerting her that they were unanimous on counts 1 and 3. The juror claimed the foreman, the only person who can contact the judge, who was selected by the judge, said that they needed to be unanimous on all counts. We believe that he knew what he was talking about, the juror told Kearney in an interview. Like, that's awesome. My fucking interview is being cited. I don't know if I would have changed if it would have changed things if we had asked the question about consensus on 2 of the counts. In an August hearing, Reed's appellate attorney, Marty Weinberg, implored Kearney to bring the jurors back and poll them. After she denied it, they went to the SJC. So we've been over this with the ACLU, and they're involved in it now with the amicus brief. It's good. One of the Reed's few breaking points occurred when Jackson was arguing with the judge over the verdict slip, which offered jurors 3 guilty options versus 1 not guilty option. Kearney said that this is how all verdict slips work in Massachusetts, noting that Yannetti had certainly seen them. He said he actually hadn't. I disagree with you, she said. When Reed smirked at what she viewed as another slight, Kearney scolded her. Is this funny, Miss Reed? Like, bro. I still can't believe she said that. She also had a recurring nightmare that O'Keefe survived whatever happened to him on January 29th, but couldn't recall what that was. Reed is trying to get him to remember what unfolded after he got out of her car. But there are 2 other people in the dream, Peg and Paul O'Keefe, and they're telling O'Keefe that Reed tried to kill him. The dream haunts her as much as the reality that O'Keefe's family, who did not really know the McCabe's and Alberts before his death, has sided with the Canton families. Reed brings up the quote, "It's easier to fool someone than convince them they've been fooled." Reed believes this captures the O'Keefes. She says Peg never fully embraced her, even when O'Keefe was alive, perhaps because of the difficulty of seeing another woman help raise her daughter's children. That's interesting. Reed thinks back to the morning of January 29th when Peg seemed to blame her immediately, but the O'Keefes did not seem to hold it against Albert that he never emerged from the house as emergency workers tried to save their son. Such a good point by her. Such a good point. That doesn't bother you in any way, but in an instant you believe that I somehow flipped out and committed my first crime? Like, what? That's such a good point. And here she begins a blow-by-blow rebuttal to the O'Keefe family criticisms. So Paul and Peg, if you think I killed John, does that mean that you misjudged me for 2 years and entrusted 2 young family members in my care? Then in the blink of an eye, you think I'm a cold-blooded killer who took away your son? Like, even if you think that Karen Reed did this, even if you think, if you're Paul O'Keefe and Peggy and you think Karen Reed did this, there has to be something in the back of your head where you're like, well, what if she didn't? Like, and it is shady. It is shady that he didn't come out of the house. That would just bother the fuck out of me. It really would. But not the O'Keefes. They're such stubborn assholes that they're like, nope, we won't even consider that. And to show you how much we won't consider that, we're going to bring these assholes to court with us and be best friends with them. We're honorary McAlberts now. After the trial, Paul gave an interview to WBZ. We know that Johnny and Karen were arguing. It was kind of towards the end of the relationship. They were drinking and arguing and fighting in an intoxicated stage of rage and jealousy. She decided that she was going to do something about it. He was convinced of her guilt the morning of his brother's death. When Reed told his wife, Erin, that she needed to, quote, remember the bad times. And she did say that. Reed confirms this. That was my processing, my trying to think of reasons not to mourn or miss John. So again, good thing she's doing this article because she's explaining all the shit that was been used against her. And I told you before from my conversations with her that she wanted to testify. I don't know if she still did. I think her lawyers thought they were winning by so much that it didn't matter. But I hope she does, man. I know most lawyers will say don't, but man, I think she would do great. I don't know about you guys. I think she would do just fine because she's so innocent and she knows this case so well. And I think she could win over that jury. I really do. I really do. I think it would have helped her. I mean, the more I think about it, these jurors, if they could actually hear from her, because all they did was look at her. They saw the faces that she was making during the trial. If some of them didn't like that, they saw the confidence she had when she came in. They saw and they heard the voicemails, right? So like when you actually hear from her though, you're like, oh, this woman ain't lying. Like this woman's legit. Shit, she's got nothing to hide. She's not your typical murder suspect. Okay. I'm capable of meeting other people. What do you think? I don't want anybody else to have him. He's got to be dead. I can't handle this fight that she just had. All question marks. Firing off rebuttals as if her antagonists are in the home with us. And when I'm going to murder him on the front lawn of the most powerful guy in town, who's an acting police officer, like exactly. Why the fuck would she do it there? We argued, but was I abusive? Was I neglectful? Did I mistreat him emotionally or in any way? Did we have ups and downs? And I helped him tend to the kids and went on vacations to sporting events and school and breakfast and haircuts. Exactly. In the same interview, Paul said he's bothered that the O'Keefe's death is being overshadowed by the Karen Reed show. Again, Paul, it's being overshadowed by the Karen Reed show because of the Commonwealth, dude. Open your fucking eyes, bro. It's because of the Commonwealth. Because they're charging the wrong person that this is becoming the 𝗬𝗎𝗄𝗎 show. The Karen Reed show. It shouldn't be the Karen Reed show because she shouldn't be on trial, bro. The O'Keefes declined to answer questions from Vanity Fair, but sent a statement declaring that the family, quote, believes she is liable for John O'Keefe's death. That's it. Unlike most people accused of murder and sued for wrongful, like that's wild. Like that's all you got to say? Because they know that if they actually have to answer the questions, they're going to look like fools, aren't they? They're going to look like fools. Unlike most people accused of murder and sued for wrongful death, Karen has embraced her celebrity in outside ways. After noting her media appearances and the fact that she did not testify at the first trial, the statement concluded thus: this intensive media campaign to influence potential jurors compounds the O'Keefe family's terrible loss while delaying and denying her accountability. You know, and that they hate how confident she is. And I got to be honest with you, like she is a natural with the celebrity status that she didn't ask for. She is a celebrity defendant. She is. I mean, that's just a fact. When Karen Reed goes out to dinner, she's more recognizable than I am. and I'm fucking Turtleboy. You know, like I started this whole shit, but I'm not Karen Reed. Like she has a more identifiable face to millions of people than I do. And, you know, she's prettier than me too. I'm gonna be perfectly honest. I mean, I'm kind of pretty, but I'm not as pretty as her, so I can't compete. So like when she goes out, people are gonna like her. And she's handled it pretty well for somebody that didn't ask to be put in this situation, I think. Like the confidence that she has, how well she handles the children that come up to her, the fans, the supporters. Like she's got a lot going on, and she still finds time to make sure that she goes out and lets these people know that, hey, I appreciate you. You know, I'm not some, even though some people think that she owes them more, but you know, she feels like, just seeing her, it's like she's a natural. She just stepped into it. You know, I'm used to this. I signed up to be the entertainer at the center of the spotlight. Like she got thrown into this, you know, she got thrown into this. So it's different. And that's what makes them so mad. Reed as a response to claims that she's embracing the spotlight. Anyone in my position who's being falsely accused would be shouting from the rooftops. First of all, I don't want to be here. It can be the John O'Keefe show. It can be the O'Keefe family reunion. But if you think for a second that anyone has fought harder to find the truth about what happened to John and to enlighten everyone about what happened to John harder than me, you're wrong. What a boss line that was. Paul stationed himself feet away from Reed in court, glaring at her throughout the trial. Did that bother her? You can't have no respect for someone and care what they think. I didn't do anything. So you can stare at me and you get an ulcer over your hatred toward me. The O'Keefes never carried a pitchfork for me until I started getting support. You didn't speak to any media. Now you're giving interviews. Well, they gave him one interview. You really just can't stand my rising from the ashes. The only thing that changed is I started to come from a position of power. Amen, sister. That's what this comes down to, is they don't like her confidence. They hate that. And you know what they think they really hate is her association with me. They hate her more than me. They kind of like me. Like, let's be real. You read my back and forth with Paul O'Keefe. Like, Paul O'Keefe kind of likes me. Like, he kind of wants to be my friend. He invited me to go golfing with him. I think he wants me to bang his wife. I think. I can't be sure of that. But I said, no. I go, what's yours is yours. No swaps, Paul. Okay. Capiche? I made that very clear to him. I don't know if these canned people, they're in a weird shit. Okay. But yours is yours and mine is mine. Setting the ground rules here. No matter how many freaking White Claws we have. All right. No more. So, I think he like wanted to be like, at the end, he's like, I wish you had our back. I know you wish you did. When Chris Albert messaged me, it was very like, we should talk. You know, I want you on my side. Jill Daniels did the same thing, and she wants to bang me. But she touched me once, and never again. No more touching me, Jill. Okay, hands off. Hands off. Keep your hands. Go put your hands on your elderly boyfriend. Okay, he needs go rub his toupee. Okay, but I think they don't hate Karen Reed. I mean, no, they hate Karen Reed. They didn't like her before. But she's right. There was no pitchforks out for her before, that she's the devil. When I came out and started doing my thing and saying Karen Reed's innocent, the Commonwealth is protecting the McAlberts and framing her, what they wanted her to do was make some sort of public statement saying, I condemn Turtleboy's tactics. That's what they wanted her to do. They wanted her to disassociate. Like, she can't make me stop supporting her, but she can make some sort of statement saying that, like, although I appreciate the support, I don't agree with the treatment of the O'Keefe family and the negative things he's saying about the O'Keefe family. But I think what really turned the O'Keefes against Karen was when I reported about Paul's DUI. I think that was the turning point. and how Karen bailed him out of jail. I think that really pissed him off because that was proof to Paul O'Keefe that Karen was giving me information about him. Because who else could I get that from? It doesn't say on the forum who bailed him out. That could only come from Karen herself. And that, I think, was Paul's like aha moment where he realized he not only is she feeding him information, she's feeding him the truth that makes me look bad. Fuck her. I think that was his moment. He didn't hate me. He hated the fact that she was, in his mind, using me to make him look like a douchebag, which he is. Or he could just not be a douchebag, and then he won't look like one. Conversely, he could try that. I think the reporting on his DUI, and then, you know, I called his mom some bad words. I think I called him maggots. Andrea Canning brought that up on Dateline. I don't even remember saying that. Andrea Canning doesn't understand Turtleboy. I call everybody maggots. I call people bad words all the time. It's just, they ain't special. They're just, I do it to everyone. Like I call people a lot worse than maggots, quite frankly. And, you know, we've all seen the greatest hits tapes that Krusty Panties puts out about me, the Turtleboy bad videos. I mean, I say a lot of shit and a lot of it ain't pretty, but it is what it is. And Karen Reed does not, you saw in the Natalie interview with Tully that she was like, she doesn't agree with everything I do, but at no point has she ever tried to stop me. You know, at no point has she ever tried to control my activism. And she's never directed me to do anything, but she's also never asked me to stop. And I think if I was her position, I would be secretly loving this shit, loving it. I wouldn't be like patting me on the back or telling me do this, do some more. Can you do it? But of course, if you were in her position, who you would all fucking love me. Like who wouldn't fucking love me if they were in Karen Reed's position? It makes no sense. She'd look like a bigger douche if she condemned me. You know what I mean? Because then all you people would be like, well, she doesn't deserve your help. You know, I didn't fuck her. Like, I think she's played it fine. But that's what really got the O'Keefes upset. And I'm glad that she's calling them out on record in this shit. They look like douchebags. In August, O'Keefe's family filed a wrongful death suit against Reed, the Waterfall, and C.F. McCarthy's. Okay, looking for at least $50,000 in damages, Paulo Grift, for conscious pain and suffering and profound emotional distress. The Waterfall and C.F. McCarthy's denied the allegations. Reed denies that she was overserved. Every witness at the trial testified that she did not appear drunk, and has sought to delay the civil suit until after her criminal trial. They would have done this 3 years ago if it was about John. Only when I walked out of that courthouse a free woman did they seemingly put the wheels in motion to sue me. I still can't believe like what Beth Resendez and Brendan Kane and these people have said, like, and Paul O'Keefe, like they really thought there was going to be a conviction. Like they sat through the same 10 weeks of bullshit that we did. And they thought like at the end of this, like this somehow ends in guilty. Like we're in two different worlds. If we actually thought that, like I was stunned by a hung jury, but at least they acquitted on 2 counts. You know, guilty? What? Guilty? Come on, dude. Did you hear all that shit? The Proctor text, you think people are going to forget about that shit? Like, come on, bro. Anyway, back to this. Yeah, Megabeth. O'Keefe's sister is the family member whose coldness hurts the most. O'Keefe's father, rather. Reed and John Sr. used to go to Sunday Mass together and then take Patrick to breakfast. Showed me a Christmas card from Mr. O'Keefe that said, "Dear Karen, my mother always told me if you want to tell somebody how you feel, do it in a letter. So here goes. I finally figured out who you are. You are an angel sent from heaven. And thank you so much for all you do. You are the best of the best. Love forever, Papa." Holy shit, that's heavy. "I don't think he wants any of this fighting in this war," says Reed. "Nevertheless, we're at war." And that is so true. You could tell just from that guy's face. He ain't into this shit. He came to like probably 25% of the court of the hearings of the trial shit. Right? I mean, that guy looks just beaten up by life. I like that guy, and I feel bad for him. They've been exploited. She wakes up every morning with iPhone memories showing her past life with the kids. The images used to hurt. Now they just make her mad. They've been exploited and brought into a trial that they had no business being in. That's one of the first questions I asked her, by the way, at the when I met her on May 3rd last year at the lunch that wasn't a lunch. I said, just like, I'm like, does it hurt not being able to talk? Does it hurt that the kids think that you did this? Because that would hurt. That would bother me a lot. What the kids think, like that would bother me a lot. Fuck the adults. Like it would bother me a lot what the kids think. And she said, yeah, it did. But like, eventually David told her, like, Karen, like, you're done. Like you're done with them. Like they're not coming back. Like you can't talk to them. There's an order against you. Like you'll never be like, they're going to be brainwashed now. Like they're no longer, you have to forget about it. Like that's your old life. That's your old life. That life is gone. You have to emotionally distance yourself from the kids because it's going to hurt you. The more you dwell on it, it's going to hurt you. And so she had no choice. If Karen Reed seems hardened, it's because she is. Like she's grizzled. She's lived a grizzled last couple of years. Like that will grizzle the fuck out of you. And the kid part, seeing them, having to watch them testify. You guys weren't in the courtroom for that shit. The boy, when he testified, Patrick, he seemed like he's 13. He seemed less angry at Karen. He seemed like less like he wanted to be there. Whereas the 16-year-old, she's fully ingrained in 𝗵𝗲𝗺𝗺 culture now. Like she's one of them. It's sad. It's sad because I've seen the things that she said to Karen prior to this. And, the 16-year-old, I would describe her demeanor like towards Karen as like she was angry. Like she was fully invested in this. Like she wanted to put Karen in jail. Like that's what I took from her testimony. It like, whereas the boy was like passive and like, like he was, like he seemed less like he wanted to be there. It seemed like the 16-year-old more wanted to be there. And that was sad to see because she's like, looking more like an adult, and she'll be an adult in like a couple years. You know what I mean? And that will be, then she won't be some kid. Like then she'll be a full 𝗵𝗵𝗺𝗺. And that's sad to see because they took this innocent kid and they turned her into a 𝗵𝗵𝗺𝗺. And that's too bad. That's too bad. But anyway, back to this. But like, that's one thing Karen told me that when the first time I met her was like that the hope is that one day when they're older, they really read up on this as adults because they're too young to understand it now, read up on it, formulate their own opinions, that one day they just go down the rabbit hole with this shit and they realize that, oh, wow, that's horrible what happened here. And they took, even though Karen's not my family, like they took her away from us and they took John away from us. So that sucks. Anyway, they've been exploited and brought into the trial they had no business being in, Reed says. The hope for me is that one day they will really dig, speaking of, in the case, one day and be ambitious enough to say, I need to see everything. Or there will be a federal indictment and my allegations will become even more validated. That's true. I thought about this too. Like, what happens if Jen McCabe and Brian Albert and them are perp walked and arrested, whatever? You know what's going to happen, though? You know what, like, the fucked up part about it is crusty panties of the world will still be saying that the 𝗵𝗵𝗺𝗺𝗺s are innocent. They will still be saying that. They will still treat these people like they're victims. And they will accuse the FBI and the DOJ and the U.S. Attorney's Office of being complicit now because they are the conspiracy theorists. And they say Karen Reed has brainwashed them. Jen McCabe is innocent. And I think that's like, if they're indicted, I still think that these kids will think that Jennifer McCabe's innocent. And they're like, wow, like they've convinced them that Karen Reed is the devil and she's capable of, see all these people out here, they're all under Karen Reed's sorcery. And if Jen McCabe is indicted or arrested, they'd be like, see, oh man, she's fucking powerful, huh? Look at her. She's fucking, she fooled Turtleboy. She fooled all these people. She even fooled Josh Levy. So I think that even an indictment of these people isn't even going to change that much public opinion when it comes to like the McAlberts and stuff. With the online community, it will change a lot of people. With the McAlberts and their supporters, they're all in. They're all in. There's nothing that can, David, you know, an indictment won't change shit. Okay. Reed has been criticized for not looking like a grieving girlfriend in the courtroom. I love this part. Love this part. I have mourned and cried over John O'Keefe, but that is not productive now. I don't feel the acute sadness I did when I first lost him. She realizes people may not understand this. If that sounds callous, I'm not going to apologize. We weren't married. The public is now hearing a lot for the first time, but they have to realize I've gone through these stages of grief. I've reached the point that, John, if you can hear me, I've done everything I can. I don't think your family can be saved. They want to see me incarcerated for the rest of my life, despite never seeing evidence while you were alive that I mistreated you. We were dating for 2 years, and I've since eclipsed those 2 years. I'm going on 3, and I've got to save myself now. What a fucking well-spoken person she is, huh? Like, this is so good. This is such a good idea for her. I'm so glad this worked out perfectly. This article, like that quote is such a good fucking quote, is it not? Like, she just takes every criticism that people have of her behavior in things that she can't defend, and she defends them all. Perfectly worded. Like, you could tell, like Howie said today, Howie was blown away by how intelligent Karen Reed was. That's one of the first things he said to me today. Is like, I had no idea she was this smart. I'm like, yeah, dude, she graduated from college in 3 years, and you know, she's got an MBA, and she's a college professor. Like, she's smart. I've said this before to you people, and from my conversations, you're all seeing the Karen Reed in this interview that I've gotten to know the last couple of whatever year, however long I've talked to her. And I've always said that she is like one of the smartest people I've ever had a conversation with. Like, you know, when you're talking to like a really smart person and they just get it. And I'm not going to lie, I'm a pretty smart person too. So like, it's easy as a fellow smart person, it's easy to connect with another smart person, because then you brainstorm together and you're both really smart people. And Alan Jackson's a very smart person too. And when smart people come together like this, man, change the world. Okay. Anyway, back to this. On another one of my evenings with Reed, she and I join her parents, Bill and Janet, her brother Nathan, and his friend Adam. Adam's my court buddy, the guy I'm always sitting next to in court that the ladies love, for dinner at one of the family's favorite Providence restaurants, Al Forno. Bill is earnest, analytical, and plainly anguished. He grew up in government housing and worked hard to give his family a good life. I've never had to worry about police. Now I look with a very skeptical eye. There were layers of accountability that should have been remedied. Anything corrupt, he tells me. His daughter is just collateral damage. It sounds heartless, but sure, she is collateral damage. She is just insert name here. Like, sorry, dear, something, we killed the guy and someone's got to go down. So it's you. Sorry. Have a nice life. Janet, a stylish woman whose father was a cop who met Bill when they both worked at Bristol Community College, can better compartmentalize. She's warm, bubbly, and half Italian. The meals, mood booster. She makes sure I've tried the squash blossoms. Ew. Squash is horrible. I wouldn't even eat it in jail. Or eggplant. And wants to know whether I've seen Masterpieces Endeavor. Though it's a show involving murder investigations, it's been a welcome escape to a different time, the 60s, in the UK. and moral compass setting. Janet points out that the patrons around us have no idea what her family's going through. People cannot hear what we're saying. They see us and probably think they have a lovely life. They're just floating along. They see it, Janet, and they know who exactly you are. They know who Karen is and what she's going through. Reed couldn't share confidential information about the case with families who her parents and brother had no preparation for things like Proctor's text messages. That's interesting. It's not easy, says Janet. I knew Karen was going to have to give me a look if I even made a breather of a sound, but I was frustrated. Bill says he appreciated that Kearney made Proctor read the entirety of his profane texts about Reed rather than let him censor himself to the jurors. When she forced him on that cunt word, I wanted to go up and shake her hand. It needs to end, and it needs to end in a manner that puts some of these people behind bars. But Dad, if someone came up to you right now and said they're dropping the charges and there'll be no further indictments, you will never set foot in another courtroom, you go to sleep with a smile on your face. We don't need anyone to be indicted. We'd love it, but we don't need it. Just be free of my family. And if you were in Karen Reed's shoes, you'd probably feel the same. I wouldn't be happy with that. I want more. That's not enough. I would love to see a Karen Reed acquittal. Love it. Oh my God. I think about that. Like, think of how boss it would have been. Because remember, I was debating whether or not we should have a watch party for Karen Reed or for a verdict party, or I should be in courtroom. Being in the courtroom was the right place to be because I earned my spot in there. And I think about it was the crowd exploded at a mistrial. Imagine what they would have done with not guilty. And then just the way that courthouse is set up, because the buffer zone thing would immediately end after the acquittal and the whole crowd could come over. And the way that courthouse is set up with the steps, and you come out and you're like the fucking president coming out of that courthouse, and you like, that would be like, picture me emerging from that courthouse after, like, I would obviously come out before Karen Reed's team. It would be like the appetizer, Turtleboy's coming out, and I come out there and just imagine the crowd would go nuts. I dream about that sometimes, like that moment of emerging at the top of the courthouse step. Like when I emerged out of jail on the day I was released from jail and I emerged on those courthouse steps, the crowd went fucking nuts. But that was like February when that happened. Imagine a nice summer day with a Karen Reed acquittal, how fucking crazy it would have been. Oh my God, that would be the greatest moment of my life. Besides, obviously shit, my kids being born and first communion and all that shit. But besides that stuff, it would be like the greatest moment of my life. Like, that would be fucking awesome. And then a couple minutes later, Karen Reed's team would come out and they would be even louder. Like, it'd be fucking nuts. It would be absolutely nuts. And then Paul O'Keefe would be sitting there stewing about it in the back room, and the DA would be like, sorry, we tried our best. Like, that would just be fucking and it's going to happen. It's going to it didn't happen this time. It will happen. There's not going to be another mistrial. There's not going to be another mistrial. This will be not guilty this time around. So back to this. We're almost done. Reed's been criticized for smiling and waving to her supporters. But she has no apologies. I implore any critic to get out of a car in the middle of a waking nightmare, see 200 people wearing your favorite color, telling you to keep your head up and to keep your spine strong, and you don't crack a smile. Exactly. It has been a lot worse. I've been frog marched into court with shackles on my feet and clothes that I slept in a jail cell the night before, in front of the cameras, to all negative headlines. And the only people in court were my parents and my brother. I can't not smile. I just feel God's presence. Reed saw a Daily Mail headline calling her America's happiest murder defendant. If I look happy, did it cross your mind that I have a free conscience? Exactly. Oh, I love this line. Such another boss line. If I look happy, did it cross your mind that I have a free conscience? Because I didn't do it. If being innocent and enjoying the support and refusing to be down day after day, month after month, year after year makes me America's happiest murder defendant, that I'm America's happiest murder defendant. What a boss line that was. Look at all these fine people over here in pink. You'll love to see it. Love to see it. On my final night with her, Reed plays the DJ on Spotify and tells us, DJ, whatever that is, on Spotify and tells us about the temperature controlled storage unit she's been paying for to house the carpeting torn up. So real quick about the carpeting. So I don't think much is going to come of the carpeting because, well, first of all, she has to get, it's all it's not from the basement. It's from the stairs in the house and various places on the first and second floors, not from the basement. And it's going to have tons of DNA on it, but not necessarily all. Like, to figure out whose DNA is on that, like if any part of John's DNA is on that, they're fucked. But it's so expensive. Like when you swab it, it's only like a microscopic part of it. It would be thousands and thousands of swabs, right? And none of it would be admissible because of chain of custody. Because the Commonwealth would just say, oh, well, you probably are, you probably still have pieces of John's shit lying around. You could easily just put his fucking DNA on those rugs, right? That is exactly what they'd say. So like, because of the chain of custody situation with those rugs, the FBI would probably have no interest in them, right? Because of chain of custody problems. Okay. Oh, 6-5 Yankees I saw. Interesting. Okay, let's get back to this. The Olympics are on. Nobody's watching it. Okay. I asked if she gets sentimental about stuff that John did in the house. I was at the beginning, but when a significant other dies, he's gone and there's no choice. You've got to pick up and move on. A friend recently asked Reed if she's dated since O'Keefe died. I've had a couple connections. Okay. But I haven't been in a relationship. I mean, how could you? How could you get in a relationship? Who's got fucking time to date? And also, like, you know, you just got out of a relationship. Your last boyfriend is killed because of it's an unfortunate decision that he made to go inside that house. It's not his fault by any means, but like, if I was Karen Reed, part of me would be like, I love you, John. I miss you, but why'd you have to go in that fucking house? Because now look at me. And I didn't do this, John, but you're not here to defend me because you did something that I didn't want. It wasn't my idea to go to that house. It was your idea to go to that house. And you went inside and I didn't want to go. I wasn't sure about it. And now you're dead and I'm being blamed for it. And you're the only person that can testify that I didn't do it and you're gone. So if I was Karen Reed, I'm going to be honest with you. Like, I would miss John, but I would have a little bit of resentment for him. I don't know about you people. I would have a little bit. It's hard to be mad at somebody who was murdered, your dead guy, but like part of me would be like, fuck, I don't know. It's a weird feeling. But anyway, back to this. That's what I'm saying. It's got to be a weird mix of sadness and not rage, but like, just like, what the fuck, dude? Look at this situation, I'm in. So back to this. Reed's feelings for O'Keefe have become more complicated the longer her saga continues. She was heartbroken, but now feels trapped. I feel that everything in the 2 years I dated John was a precursor to this horrible decision of us to go out drinking, and for John to think he was welcome with these people who never really acted welcoming to him before. Each witness I see come into the court, each cop, each Albert, the girls from Aruba, it's like this all came into my life by the way of John. Everyone was drinking buddies, and everybody testified as much. Alcohol is at the center of this, and it was my relationship with him. In hindsight, everything was just a precursor to this fateful, tragic night. Reed does not drink as much as she did with O'Keefe and was initially reluctant to order the occasional alcoholic beverage at a restaurant. She has since stopped caring what strangers think. You're allowed to have a cocktail if you're being framed for murder. I saw Jess Machado framed that one today. It's a good one. Good quote. Each morning she Googles herself and clicks on the tabs about it and reads the reports. Then she heads to mass.gov to see if there's any new filings on the docket. She's a prisoner to her iPhone. Humor is bent to the circumstance. When I drive Reed to lunch, she brings up toast to her brother that to her at his wedding, saying he didn't know how he'd ever repay her from a previous breakup. And little did he know he'd get to drive me to my criminal trial. At one point in our visit, the security guard asks Reed whether she's ever worked with a therapist. No, never. That's what you guys are here for. After her mistrial, Canton Police and State Police disciplined some officers. Proctor. So they talk about all these people who have been disciplined. We've been over all this. Proctor, Kevin Albert, Bukaki, etc. You got what's his name is gone. Okay, all these people. Nolan, the BPD officer turned professor, predicts that Proctor's punishment is temporary. You can't get fired for incompetence as a police officer. He is backed by the state police union, which issued a statement saying it's disappointed by his suspension. Nolan points out the state police's union's own corruption history. Its former president was accused of running the organization, Dana Pullman, as a criminal enterprise and sentenced to 30 months for racketeering, obstruction of justice, and tax crimes. Governor Healy announced new leadership, the guy Jeffrey Noble from New Jersey. The first time someone outside the state would run the organization. Nolan says that's a baby step in correcting a 2,300-person organization so infamous for scandals that Scorsese made a movie about it. However, Louison, the criminal defense attorney, thinks otherwise. The Reed case has caused so much turmoil within the rank and file, I think it's likely that Proctor could end up being terminated. I'm with him. I don't think Proctor's ever coming back. 100% I believe she was framed, says the juror who spoke to Vanity Fair, citing the medical examiner's testimony, and that Commonwealth's accident reconstructionists failed to convince the person that a fatal vehicular collision occurred. I still can't wrap my head around the fact that it's possible within the state police and the DA's office. There's so many people involved in this case, the people you're supposed to be able to trust. Bill keeps a running count of the days the DOJ has been investigating his daughter's case, his only hope. He has a hard time believing the USAO would committed so much time and resources if they're not building a case. Exactly, Bill. Meanwhile, according to sources, this is very interesting statement. According to sources, Morrissey's top prosecutors have refused to retry Reed's case. I did not know that. They refused. The Dodgers just took the lead, bro. Fuck. Oh shit. I gotta end this soon. We gotta watch some game World Series about to be over. But I had no idea that the United States, that all these DAs are like, fuck it, I'm not doing my job. Isn't that insubordination? Isn't that like, that's a new twist. I'm not doing my job. They're all like, I didn't know that was an option, that you could just be like, nope, I'm not doing this. You know? I'm told that like Greg Connors, the guy, he's doing the Walsh case and he did the Michael Chestnut case, and he did it well, might I add. He refused to do it. Now, did Lally refuse to do it? I mean, maybe Lally had enough humiliation the first time around, but that should tell you something. If all your ADAs are like, that are your subordinates, and they're like, yeah, I'm not doing that, boss. Maybe the boss should be like, well, maybe we should stop then. But no, he brings in a ringer, Hank Brennan, and gives Brennan basically what these ADAs are making for a yearly salary to do this one case. And he's going to make a lot more, by the way. They're not stopping now with just that. So they're bringing on Hank, the tank. Through this chapter of her life, it's been dark, though it's been dark and arduous. Reed tells me she witnessed these are nice pictures. Is that our backyard? That's nice. Reed tells me she witnessed the best and worst of humanity because of it. The evil people in my life, you know who you are. You know what you did. I am at peace with my maker, and you, I promise, are not. Oh, they hate her so much. You know why they hate her? Because she's not funny and charming like me. Like they hate me but they kind of like me because I I make them laugh sometimes and I do shit like that. Karen Reed's not funny. Karen Reed just hurts your soul. That digs deep into their soul and just says the shit to them. That's like, fuck. Like, she doesn't swear at them. She doesn't say the kind of offensive shit that I say, so they can't even throw that back at her. Their usual tricks. There's nothing they can say about her. When she says something like that, what a powerful line. Again, I am at peace with my maker, and you, I promise, are not. Woo. You know why that hurts? Because it's true. Because Jennifer McCabe knows what she did. Brian Higgins and Brian Albert, they know what they did. Michael Proctor knows what he did. Michael Morrissey knows what he did. They all know what they did. Nicholas Guarino wakes up every day and is like, I have to go into court and lie every fucking day. I can't believe I became a state trooper for this, to just lie every fucking day. Wow. I'm such a piece of shit. Every day they have to wake up and be like, I am fucking garbage. And then I have to pretend like I'm not. I got to go to my kid's soccer game and smile. And I have to fool these people and I have to pretend that I like crusty panties. That's the worst part about it, is I have to settle for crusty panties, folks, and Turtleboy's side pieces like that. I have to pretend like I like this white trash skank with an assortment of baby daddies and a bad drinking problem. And I have to pretend like I value her friendship. Oh, fuck. Look at my life. And that statement right from there, that one burns. Reed feels a momentum towards justice. It's starting one domino after the other. I just don't know how long the trail of dominoes is. Are there 10? Are there 100 more? I don't know how long it takes to get there, but I know there's a big explosion at the end. Boom! Boom! Mic drop. That's it. What a fucking article, huh? What an article. That is so good, man. That is the best article I've ever read. Julie Miller. God bless you, girl. Hope you're enjoying life. She's got a little baby too. She wrote this while she was pregnant. God bless that woman. What an article. Well, like Richie just said, I've been waiting for that. I've been waiting for somebody to write this the right way. Just illuminate the story and bring it all to life, and something that's not on Turtleboy, because we all like Turtleboy and it's nice, but we need a mainstream publication with a reputation, with a diverse population to come in there and tell the story. And CNN wasn't up for it. And Dateline, they did it a little bit, but not really. Certainly 2020 didn't do that. Obviously Gretchen Voss and Boston Magazine didn't do that. You need somebody to do that. And Julie Miller and Vanity Fair stepped up and they did that. And that is going to be the first thing that people read. Vanity Fair has over 4 million followers on Twitter. It is as established gets, right? This is what they do. Big pieces on true crime and whatnot. Like it's fucking great. And it's just, I couldn't have written it any better. It was perfect. And the only thing it didn't include, and Karen told me this, is, and she told me that this was going to be in the story, and I don't know what she said. That they asked her, what do you think of Turtleboy? What are your thoughts on him? And she told me that she told Julie the answer, and she wouldn't tell me what she said. She said, you'll see it in the article. So that didn't make the cut. And then, so I asked her, you could still tell me and I could report it. And she's like, well, it wouldn't be the same now. And it is. And so I contacted Julie Miller and I asked her, I said, is there, I'm told that Karen Reed was asked about this. Or you asked her about this. You must have some notes on it. Could you tell? Because I want to report whatever she said. And she's like, sorry, it's Vanity Fair policy. We can't do that. And I go, okay, that's fine. So I guess I'll never find out what she said. Or maybe she could tell somebody else and they can report it. Like maybe like the Glare or somebody gets like a hot exclusive about the untold thoughts that Karen Reed has about Turtleboy, and I find out that way, that would be cool. Because she's right. It's corny if I ask her, and then she tells me you're fucking awesome. Because it's different when it's like through a third party. Like it's different. Hopefully it goes. Oh, it's in the chat. Somebody said she's talking to you. Somebody said it's in the chat. Oh, is she in the chat? Hold on. I want to see it. Hold on. I'm going to scroll up here. Hold on. She said, I'm courageous. There we go. There we go. I'm courageous. So unconventional, smart, and courageous. I you know what? I happen to agree with that, Karen. I happen to agree with all three of those. So I appreciate that. So, but yeah, Karen Reed herself, like I said, first word that comes to mind is smart. I would say intelligent. Second word, yeah, I mean, these are kind of like the same words, like kind of like right back at your sister. Courageous, definitely. Fucking like stronger than I am. Strong, like stronger than I am. I would have fucking broke. So her and I used to talk every day, and then on Christmas Eve. Oh, let's be real here. Let's be a little candid. So on Christmas Eve, she had warned me, don't go to Lindsay's. Like she told me that, like, you can't go. She had been one of the people I talked to who just is like, she's not pregnant. Like she's fucking with you. Don't go. Don't go. And I went. And so when I told her that there's a warrant out for my arrest, her reaction to that was like disappointment. It's like, I told you not to fucking go. Fuck. Like I told you not to go. Like, fuck. Like she was just like, this is bad. It's bad for everyone. It's bad for you. It's bad for me. It's bad for everyone. And so obviously it meant we couldn't talk anymore. I'm not going to call her in jail or anything like that. And as you saw in the Boston Magazine article, right? Like it's weird to like, I missed my, the fact that I could chat with her every day about shit, like covering the case. Like that was taken away from me for like 6 months. I couldn't like having access to the main character in the story for like 6 months. And then, so I'm in jail for like 2 weeks. And the lowest point in jail was January 8th. Okay. Well, besides the day I first went in, that was really the lowest. But like January 8th was the restraining order hearing with a fake victim. That was a tough day because it's the face of pure evil. It's facing the person who lied to take you away from your children and who's not backing down, and it was like in court just to see your misery, just to see you come in shackles and handcuffs while she pretends to be a victim. And she comes in with a victim witness advocate and 2 lawyers who are calling her a domestic abuse victim. And, and then she gets up there and she testifies that I hit her, like just lies. Like that shit hurt. I mean, it was good because I got to tell my story that day. But then when the judge allowed the order, which honestly, it was a 7-hour hearing. These things never the fact that he let it go that long kind of tells you he knew something was up. And when he issued the order against me, it was a low point because I walked out of there very depressed, and because she's smiling with her free lawyers that were paid for probably by the McAlberts, and I'm going back to jail. And I remember just going, that was the most depressed I felt since I gotten there. And I talked to, I knew Jennifer Altman still spoke to her. So I used to write in my journal and shit because it was easier to write shit out. And so I wrote like a letter, and Boston Magazine published this letter. I didn't do this on purpose. I never wanted that published. And it was because it makes me sound corny. You know what I mean? And so I wrote a letter to Karen Reed in jail, and I gave it to Jennifer Altman just to send it to her. And she wrote me something back that Jennifer read to me on the phone. And it was also very insightful, the thing that she said, and it really lifted my spirits. But that night was like, because I was just like, you know who I would talk to in this situation about this? I would talk to Karen Reed about this, and I can't talk to her anymore. And, that sucks, because like this is what I used to do, because they took away like my existence, when they put me in jail. They took away, not only to take away my freedom, but they took away my ability to do what I do and report on the news. And part of that is speaking to the main character of my reporting, and it was just like, but she was more than that. Like, and I've talked about this before. I probably shouldn't have let it go. I thought she was a friend, and, it's so like that being taken away as well, was just like, and she's the one friend you can't talk to in jail because the lines are fucking recorded and shit. I can talk to any other friend in jail, but her. And then when you get out, you still can't talk. You still can't talk. And the trolls are loving it and they're feeding into it. And, but it was probably a good thing we didn't talk in hindsight, because they're fucking following her phone and my phone. And they tried to indict us on March 27th and failed. So like, that was a smart move in hindsight. And, I was upset when I was not one of the 10 people that was invited in. Like the first couple days of the trial, other people got invited in, and I wasn't happy. Like I was just like, I'm not going to, because Kelly Reed is like, oh, you'll get in. And turns out she hadn't conferred with them. And I found out after about a week, Yannetti, and I was pissed about this because I'm sending her a message on Signal about this. Can you just, I'm like, I'd like to come in once. That would be cool. And I'm not hearing back from her. And so David Yannetti tells Tim Bradle, who tells me that like, we appreciate everything you've done. And after this trial is over, like, I promise we will show like how appreciative we are for what you've done. Just now's not the time. Now's not the time. And that hurt, but I understood it. I did understand it. And I understood it even more. Like I was, it sucks seeing like, other people who are less involved, like get one of the 10 seats and you're not in. But after I got the press pass, it was kind of fixed. Like me getting the press pass fixed everything. Cause I'd much rather be in the press section than sitting with their family. And because of the small quarters of the courtroom, it's like, you really get associated with the defense or because you're like specifically invited. It's not like in the big courtroom where you can just say, well, we showed up, in the small courtroom. It's like you showed up because you were invited. You were one of the chosen ones. They picked you to be here. These are not public seats. They picked you to be here. You are a representative of them. And I think that her choice not to have me in the courtroom was validated on May 10th. That was the day that the Commonwealth filed a motion to kick me out of the courtroom. Remember that? In my capacity as a journalist, think of if they had filed that motion while I was sitting with Karen Reed's side. Think of how much worse that would have looked for Karen Reed, because the motion was allowed. I was kicked out. Being kicked out as a member of the press looked a lot better than being kicked out as a guest of Karen Reed. Does that make sense? So in hindsight, I think it was the right move on her part. I think I underestimated just how much I didn't know this whole grand jury shit was going on. Like I didn't know that shit was going on. So in hindsight, I think she made the right move. It hurt in the moment because you're like, this was my baby. Like the Karen Reed story and covering it was my fucking identity. It's what I built my entire brand on. Like I went to jail for it. Like I've never been so passionate about any story I've covered ever. And, I really believed in it and I still do. And nothing could ever sway me or deter me from that. Unless there's a video of Karen Reed running John over. Like that's fucking it. So, it sucked at the time, but we reconnected. The first time we ever talked was June 10th when Michael Proctor testified. And that was such a good day when he read all those messages. And I'm like, she's probably not going to get me back, but I sent her a message because I knew she'd read them. And I sent her a message back and I said, something to the extent of, well, that was a good day. And then she wrote me back. She was just like, and we just started chatting. Again, we connected back. And then over time, I think she's felt more and more confidence. As you can see, she's here in the fucking chat tonight. She never would have done that before. And you know, it's so it's good. I feel like the gang's back together. Not the gang. They're going to use that one against me. The band. So there's that. All right, cool. Let me do the donos here. If anybody's got any more turtle chats, read a few out loud. Brandon sends $5 and goes, do you think DB Cooper had an accomplice? What do you think happened to the money? Bro, I don't know anything about DB Cooper except he jumped out of a plane. I don't really know much about that, but thank you, Brandon. Chloe the dog sends $10 and goes, the final Democrat message is, you people are garbage and will bring unity to the nation. Isn't that their story every time? By the way, the ninth inning, Yankees are up. The Dodgers are up by 1 going into the ninth. Okay. All right. Chloe the dog. Let's see. Julie G sends $5 and goes, you need to be officially on Karen's team. You know this case inside and out, back to front. That's all I have to say. We'll see. Thank you very much. Tara sends $10 and goes, do you think this cool case down the Cape, cold case down the case that Proctor and Albert have to do with the 𝗺cie investigation? No, I just think honestly that they were just looking for an excuse to go to the Cape. So thank you for those ones, Tara. I appreciate that. Do we have any more of the cash apps here? Yes. Stephanie sends 10 and goes, is Rogie with dicks in mouth that video you showed? Rogie with dicks in mouth. I don't know. I didn't show any videos of anyone with a dick in their mouth, so I'm not sure. Thank you. Tammy sends $5 and says, hey, Greg, it's been a while, but you still suck with the Q. Thank you, Tammy. Jeffrey sends $10 and goes, how much to cut the tag off? I know. I'll do it tonight. I promise. Hello, Tiffany, he says. Thank you, Jeffrey. Callie sends $10 and goes, I'm an MIT scholar, Mass Institute of Turtleboy. Oh, I like that one, Callie. I like that one. $5 from Tyrone. He says, what happens November 6th if Trump wins? Then he's the president and liberals go into freak out mode and the resist, and we do it all over again. And I cover the Karen Reed case. That's what I do the next day. So there, thank you very much. Okay, cool. All right, guys. So it is, I'm keeping an eye. The Dodgers have a runner on first base. They have one out. And I kind of want to go watch this in a minute because it's the World Series. You know, it's the fun. I mean, it's big. It's fun to watch. Even though when the road team wins, it's not as fun. But yeah, man, it's been a good show. It's been a good show. It got real tonight. And just want to say thank you to all you fine people out there. We got over 4,000 strong watching on a hump day on Impromptu Live. Great to see you fine people out there. And I love you guys. And we'll see you. Remember, Turtle Club is going to be Friday night because Halloween tomorrow. And I'm going to be at court Friday for those ducky motherfuckers. So I love you fine people. Keep it real. Happy Halloween. Make sure, you know, if you're in Canton, there's no tail light in your kids' candy. All right. And you guys have a good one. Peace, Turtle Riders.